Chapter 1493. Don't you understand my words? If you want to fight, just step out. This seat will naturally grant you your wish. If you want to fart, just scram further away. Qin Wenin calmly glanced at the saber-sword immortal king as he spoke. He was as arrogant as ever, able to act so domineeringly to the experts of the Nine Emperors' immortal state, even daring to tell the supreme crown prince to kneel and beg for forgiveness. One could tell with a single glance what sort of personality this saber-sword immortal king had. Most probably, there were no humans or demons in the city of ancient emperors that he didn't dare to antagonize. Back then, you were already defeated by my elder brother and fled in a sorry state, not even scramming out of the city of ancient emperors. Yet, you still dare to appear here? Are you courting death? Yen Luotian stopped in the air and pointed at Qin Wenin, speaking with incomparable arrogance. He was none other than the younger brother of the Yama king. Earlier, weren't you very arrogant? The saber-sword immortal king was defeated by your elder brother? Back then, how strong was your elder brother? He was at the peak stage of the immortal king realm. What about the saber-sword immortal king? He's at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm. You actually still have the face to use this to show off? Yen Luotian, no wonder you still dared to ask your clan members to help you after you were defeated. Truly shameless. Jun Mengchen crossed his arms before his chest as he mocked. Senior brother Qin should have broken through to the peak stage of the immortal king realm, right? There shouldn't be a problem for him to kill that fellow. Jun Mengchen was still very confident in Qin Wenin. You are finally here. It has been 30 years since we last met. This time around, you should be able to kill that fellow, right? When Jun Mengchen heard the saber-sword immortal king calling out to the Yama king, he instantly knew that his senior brother Qin had arrived. How could he not rush over with his fastest speed? Right now, he was already at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm and could travel alone. A strange scene appeared. After Qin Wenin scared off the experts of the Nine Emperors' immortal state, the emperor's fate behind him grew even more resplendent, radiating a dazzling light that surpassed many people. Such shameless boasting. Why don't you go up and try? A human, Wu Xiu, mocked and egged him on. Qin Wenin glanced at the emperor's fate on Jun Mengchen's body. It was extremely resplendent, surpassing the majority of the people here, causing Qin Wentian's eyes to flash with a bright light. However, he still maintained his calm and transmitted his voice over, I have no idea how strong the Yama King's true combat prowess is. After all, I wasn't able to fully probe his strength back then. Many people glanced at Jun Mengchen as they whispered to each other. Clearly, Jun Mengchen was extremely famous in the city of ancient emperors. They naturally wouldn't hear the voice transmission between Jun Mengchen and Qin Wenin. They only thought that Jun Mengchen was here to join in the fun. Greetings, Crown Prince. Many experts from the Sunluo Immortal Empire bowed. Even though they were experts from the royal clans, this was the prestige of a supreme crown prince. His authority in the Sunluo Immortal Empire towered up into the sky and his status was unparalleled. Many immortal emperors had to show him respect when they saw him. The Yama king was incomparably arrogant. He sat on the dragon war chariot as his eyes gleamed with divine light. He didn't even look at Qin Wenin, as though he was filled with disdain. His gaze landed on the beautiful maiden on the ancient peak. Qin Wenin sweated when he heard Jun Mengchen's voice transmission. This fellow was already a major character at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm, yet he was still so carefree. One of the experts from the Nine Emperors' immortal state was killed with a single glance, yet the others didn't dare to move. In fact, Qin Wenin directly berated and threatened them to leave. This undoubtedly proved how strong the saber-sword immortal king was. How could his emperor's fate not be strong? This scene caused even the enemies of Qin Wenin who were hiding in the crowd to know their place, not daring to act recklessly. Yen Luotian's strength is also very strong. But what sort of character is Jun Mengchen? He obtained the Tao element's inheritance at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm. How powerful is he? If he breaks through to the peak stage of the immortal king realm, he would surely be one of the top characters. Yen Luotian is still a little lacking. Many people silently mused. Yama King, the Yama Crown Prince has arrived. Yen Luotian was mocked in public. He roared in anger as his aura gushed forth violently. He coldly spoke, "What does this have to do with you?" The wind and clouds in the air changed, and the heavens and earth seemed to have become violent. Rumbling sounds rang out, and the clouds churned madly. A dazzling light was released from there, as though there was Emperor's fate shooting up into the sky. The golden light was like a divine light, incomparably dazzling. This fellow is here to join in the fun as well. Jun Mingchen laughed. Senior brother Qin, no matter what, this junior brother has trained in the city of ancient emperors for 30 years. How can I not have any fame? Don't you know whose junior brother I am? I can't lose face for you, right? Senior brother Qin. A voice drifted into his ears. Qin Wenyan saw that Jun Mingchen had arrived. It's Jun Mingchen. It's Yen Luotian. I was wondering who was causing a ruckus here. I didn't expect to meet you here again. In the previous battle, you scrammed away with your tail between your legs. Do you want to try again this time around? Even before Qin Wenyan could speak, Jun Mingchen already stood out and spoke with a mocking tone. Not long ago, you said that you wanted to kill someone, but in the end, you were chased away with just a few words. I heard that this person is a heaven chosen from the strongest human power in the immortal realms, the 9 Emperors' immortal state. I've always known that humans are weak, but I didn't expect humans to be so weak to such an extent. They are as lowly as ants. Another greater demon spoke in a mocking tone, not mincing words. That greater demon from the Heavenhold race grinned, looking extremely malevolent. He stared at Qin Wenyan and coldly spoke, "You are still so arrogant even on the verge of death? I'll let you humans bite each other first. I'm sure the Yama King will naturally kill you. There's no need for this king to act. Are you the one who wants to challenge the crown prince of my Sunluo immortal empire?" A cold voice rang out. From afar, a group of extraordinary figures could be seen walking over, all of them exuding the aura of kings. These were all experts from the royal clan of the Sunluo immortal empire. Even before they arrived, their voices already rang out, causing this entire space to tremble like thunder. Qin Wenyan's lips curled up into a mocking smile, as though he was mocking the other party. Just like what he said, he only knew how to boast but didn't have the guts to start a war. Qin Wenyan's eyes flickered with a smile, but his thin lips gave off the sharpness of swords. His gaze swept over the experts in the air as he spoke, "If you all want to start a war, just do it. There's no need to come here to instigate me. If you all want this seat to play with you all, you only have to say the word and this seat will definitely grant you your wish. As for those filthy words of yours, the weak want to use arrogant words to gain face? If that's the case, this seat would really suspect that their brains are not developed yet. What would you do if it was you? Interesting, these humans are too interesting." A demonic beast had a demonic gleam in his eyes as he mocked, feeling disdain for humans. That woman inclined her head and calmly glanced at the Yama King. She didn't say anything. "Whose brains are you saying are not developed yet?" A voice filled with evil chi drifted over. Qin Wenyan saw a pair of ugly and demonic eyes staring at him. The owner of the voice was a human with an extremely ugly countenance. He was a greater demon from the Heavenhold race in human form. He is even more terrifying now. Gradually, the experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom and the other major powers all arrived. However, no one dared to mention anything about revenge. The saber-sword immortal king hovered there. His presence was like a formless threat. Qin Wenyan naturally couldn't be bothered with him. He continued standing there quietly. Although demonic beasts were more violent and impulsive, they weren't fools. Qin Wenyan was able to order the experts of the 9 Emperors' immortal state to leave. Clearly, his combat prowess was extraordinary. In addition, he would soon die in the hands of the Yama King. Why was there a need to start a war with him? Qin Wenyan was merely using this opportunity to vent his cravings while mocking the humans of the immortal realms. For example, many of Zidi's sect members had also arrived. However, they only stared in the direction of Qin Wenyan and didn't move. "You can consider it well." The Yama King continued. After that, his gaze turned to Qin Wenyan and Jun Mingchen with lightning speed. There was actually someone who told him to roll over and kneel in repentance. There had never been anyone who dared to speak to him in such a manner before. This time around, he could be considered to have experienced something new. I will directly tear off his head and eat it. Yan Litian's expression changed when he saw that it was Jun Mingchen. He then spoke, Jun Mingchen, this has nothing to do with you. Scram. Qin Wendian glanced at these people. He had met one of them before. It was none other than Yan Luotian, whom he met when he headed to the Demon God Mountain. Yan Luotian had provoked him before. In truth, he had met many people in the city of ancient emperors before. If he appeared with his original appearance, there would surely be many people who would recognize him. Saber Sword Immortal King, what do you think? A human expert stared at Qin Wendian as he asked. Junior brother, you seem to be quite famous. Qin Wendian felt somewhat bewildered as he transmitted his voice to Qin Wendian. Yan Luotian was so agitated that his entire body trembled. He almost couldn't control himself and attacked. However, he knew that he wouldn't be able to win against Jun Mingchen. A resplendent dragon-shaped war chariot appeared in the air. Golden light engulfed the area as a terrifying pressure bore down, terrifying to the extreme. He didn't offend this king. If not, how could he do this? A greater demon spoke in disdain. The hearts of everyone trembled. Such an appearance was simply too magnificent. Only the supreme crown prince would be able to do such a thing, exuding imposingness in all directions. Who dares to be impudent here? A thunderous voice rang out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. This voice seemed to indicate that the crown prince had arrived. You are still as beautiful as ever. For you, I'm willing to give up my pursuit of Su Qingyao and give you the position of the crown princess of the Sunluo Immortal Empire. How about it? The supreme crown prince directly spoke. Su Qingyao's expression changed, becoming somewhat unsightly to behold. Although she had never accepted the pursuit of the Yama King before, the fact that he said such words in public would undoubtedly damage her face. He simply didn't care about her thoughts and face at all. This was the reason why she didn't like the Yama King. Although his talent was unrivaled, he was too arrogant and had no one in his eyes. One could even say that he had no one in his eyes. How does this have nothing to do with me? The Saber Sword Immortal King is my friend. You and I are on the same level, but you were beaten up like a dog by me. You even have the face to mock others? If I were you, I would scram as far as I can right now. Jun Mingchen impolitely spoke. Upon seeing Yan Luotian's aura exploding forth, he laughed. Why? You want to try again? Do you want a life-and-death battle? Some of the experts of the demon clan spoke in a disdainful tone, mocking the human martial cultivators. Seems like Yan Luotian is smacking his own face. Earlier he was so arrogant, but the next moment he encountered Jun Mingchen. Chapter 1494. At this moment, they saw a gigantic foot that blotted out the sun stomping down, exuding a towering destructive might. This foot was like the footprints of a devil god, shining with a dazzling dark runic light as it trampled everything. Those who had witnessed the battle back then knew that 30 years ago, this foot had flattened the Saber Sword Immortal King, but it wasn't able to kill him. This Saber Sword Immortal King seemed to have an undying body. The Yama King's eyes turned to Jun Mingchen, ignoring Qin Wendian, who told him to roll over to the side. Chaotic laws, huh? Qin Wendian mumbled. The most terrifying thing about the Azura Hell wasn't the destructive might or the demon kings here. It was the chaotic laws, restricting people from borrowing the power of the heavens and earth, causing their opponents to be unable to unleash their true strength. Chi! A spear pierced over, exuding an unexcelled pressure. The Netherworld King's spear that could penetrate through the heavens and earth pierced through the light barrier around Qin Wendian, yet it was actually shattered bit by bit, transforming into motes of light that slowly vanished into nothingness. I really can't stand your tone. It's already a miracle that someone like you can survive until now. Jun Mingchen stared at the Yama King. Maybe it's because you have a good background, many people don't dare to kill you. If not, people like you would have already died countless times. I really want to see if you, who has broken through to the peak stage of the Immortal King realm, can walk out of my law domain. Don't play dead like before. The Yama king waved his hand, stomping on the ground. In an instant, rumbling sounds rang out in the Azura Hell as numerous demon kings appeared, all of them exuding terrifying auras. Each of these demon kings had peak-stage immortal king combat prowess, exuding a fearsome aura. Impudent! Qin Wenyin inclined his head and stared at the sky, disregarding everything. Bullying someone with a lower cultivation base? You seem to think that you are very impressive. This younger brother of yours has a mid-stage immortal king cultivation base. I don't even need to lift a finger to kill him. Do you believe that I can kill him instantly? Indeed, he is too arrogant. However, the Crown Prince's strength was there for all to see. Others would only think that he was peerless and unparalleled. Who would dare to mock him like Jun Mengchen? Yama King, back then you bullied the Saber-Sword Immortal King because his cultivation base was lower than yours. You were so immensely proud of yourself after defeating him. Now that the Saber-Sword Immortal King has returned and wants you to kneel and apologize, you are actually trying to act imposing in front of me? Do you think you are very impressive? Right now, do you see that little brother of yours who is at the same cultivation realm as me? The Saber-Sword Immortal King can make him kneel with a single sentence. It's only because he disdains to flaunt his might before the weak. Don't you feel ashamed? Jun Mengchen's aura burst forth. Even though he was in the Azura Hell, he didn't feel the slightest bit of fear as he directly challenged the Yama King in the void. The experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire and Yama Tian all had looks of surprise on their faces. They knew how terrifying the Yama King's law domain was. Yet, he actually couldn't break through the Saber-Sword Immortal King's defense. How dare you? The Yama King roared. The Azura Hell instantly appeared, transforming into a supreme might that enveloped this entire space, including the place where Qin Wenyan and Jun Mengchen were at. Everything was covered by the Azura Hell. However, before the battle started, the vast majority of people felt that the Saber-Sword Immortal King was already dead. Although he was already very strong and could kill peak-stage immortal kings with ease, forcing the experts from the Nine Emperors' immortal state to retreat with a single sentence. The fame of this supreme crown prince was simply too great. He has already dominated the city of ancient emperors for over 30 years and rarely met a match for him. Most probably, even the Saber-Sword Immortal King wouldn't be able to do anything to him. What a powerful body of laws. In the Azura Hell, he relied on his body of laws to directly destroy an attack from a peak-stage immortal king. Such an attack can't even break his body of laws. Just a single strike was sufficient to sense how strong the Saber-Sword Immortal King was. Many people had heavy expressions on their faces. Someone who dared to challenge the Yama King was truly an extraordinary character. Just wait. Yama Tian flicked his sleeves and flew towards the experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire. After that, he stared at the scene of destruction in the Azura Hell. Tell them to leave. Qin Wenyan waved his hand. He didn't want to say anything more. Now, if this foot stomped down, what would the ending be? How dare you be so impudent to the people of my Sanluo Immortal Empire? Kneel down. The Yama King roared. His voice was like heavenly might, causing the heavens and earth to rumble as the void trembled. A formless and terrifying energy was like a bolt from the blue, penetrating through everything, causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. Jun Mengchen's body also trembled slightly. However, his eyes were as sharp as ever as he inclined his head and stared at the Yama King in the air. Chi-chi! A terrifying screeching sound rang out. That gigantic foot stomped downwards, wanting to bury the Saber-Sword Immortal King within. Chi-chi! Terrifying screeching sounds rang out. To think that there are so many people who dare to challenge this king, truly not knowing the immensity of death. He lifted his palm and prepared to kill Jun Mengchen. However, Qin Wenyan turned his gaze in the direction of his younger brother, Yama Tian. Kneel down. It has been a very long time since someone dared to be so impudent before this king. The Yama King stared at Jun Mengchen below. Do you know the consequences of your words earlier? Rumble, a Hell King's spear shot over, exuding a fearsome destructive storm. The tip of the spear was like a vortex of destruction, capable of devouring everything as it pierced towards Qin Wenyin. Qin Wenyin calmly stood there, not moving at all. Boundless law energy cascaded down from his body, flowing from the inside out. His body of laws, an undying body. Yama King, this seat told you to scram over here and kneel down to apologize. I didn't tell you to come here to flaunt your strength. Did you not hear me? At this moment, Qin Wenyin, who was floating in the air, spoke, his words causing everyone to be stunned. Another character on the same level as the Yama King. Truly, each of them was more arrogant than the last. Seems like evil people need to be tempered by evil people. Let's see if the Saber-Sword Immortal King is a match for the Yama King now. Get out! As the sound of the Yama King's voice faded, an opening appeared in the Azura Hell. Jun Mingchen and the others sped out, exiting the Azura Hell. Only Qin Wenyin was still inside. The Yama King stared at Jun Mingchen as he laughed uproariously. His words caused the heavens and earth to tremble as the space here grew unstable. It felt like this entire space was about to collapse. He was still sitting on the dragon throne, loftily staring down at everything unexcelled in this world. Boom! A formless palm imprint slammed down from the sky. With a thunderous boom, he groaned in misery as he directly coughed out a mouthful of blood. His body slumped to the ground, as though he was really kneeling in the air. Jun Mingchen, I didn't expect you to stand on the side of the Saber-Sword Immortal King. After he dies, your death shall be the date of your death. The Yama King coldly stared at Qin Wenyin. His voice was like lightning, blasting towards the Yama King. When the Yama King turned his gaze to Qin Wenyin, he only felt a boundless killing intent gushing towards him. With a loud roar, law energy erupted from his body as he wanted to retreat. In the past, this king regarded you highly and even gave you a chance. As long as you are willing to kneel and submit to me, following this king by my side, I'm willing to give you a chance to live and grant you a good future. However, I didn't expect you to seek death so much. Since this is the case, this king shall grant you your wish. The Yama King stared at Qin Wenyin. He didn't seem to be angered at all. His voice was calm, as though it was extremely difficult to anger him. The Azura Hell roared, terrifying to the extreme. Everyone turned their gazes over. Was the Saber-Sword Immortal King really going to fight against the Yama King? Before this, many people still felt that the Yama King couldn't be bothered to show himself and would only send people to kill this arrogant young man. Outside the Azura Hell, the Yama King and Jun Mingchen walked out. The Yama King's expression was extremely ugly to behold. Earlier, he was forced to kneel by Qin Wenyin. This was a great humiliation to him. Wait for me to kill him first before I kill you. I won't make you wait for too long. The Yama King glanced at Jun Mingchen. Since Qin Wenyin dared to be so impudent, he would kill him first. If not, others would say that he bullied those with lower cultivation bases. Since this Saber-Sword Immortal King dared to challenge him, it was clear that he had already broken through to the peak stage of the Immortal King realm. Although your law domain can only bully those with lower cultivation bases, this seat also hopes that your strength can be stronger. If you only rely on a weak law domain, wouldn't it be too boring? Qin Wenyin calmly replied. Their words were filled with extreme arrogance. Back then, you bullied the Saber-Sword Immortal King because his cultivation base was lower than yours. But are you preparing to act against me now? Yama King, although you are famous in my eyes, you are nothing at all. Jun Mingchen stared at the Yama King, staring straight at him. Rumble! A chaotic aura engulfed the area as boundless destructive light rained down from the sky. The Yama King stood up from his dragon chariot, his yellow robes fluttered in the wind. He was like a supreme emperor, exuding boundless prestige, standing above the masses. You still dare to speak arrogantly to me? Jun Mingchen stared mockingly at the Yama King. What's going on? At this moment, the spectators only saw a resplendent light radiating from the gigantic foot. After which, the gigantic foot was torn apart, revealing the tiny figure within. Although he was tiny, his entire body radiated a divine light that could destroy everything. The gigantic foot that stomped down not only didn't manage to crush him, it was directly pierced through instead. It was as though the attacks of this Azura hell had no way to break through his defense. The Yama King's eyes pierced through everything, staring at Qin Wenyin. This saber-sword immortal king not only told him to roll over and kneel before him, he even wanted to use the life of his younger brother to threaten him. The Azura hell erupted as all sorts of terrifying attacks frenziedly shot towards Qin Wenyin. But the ending was the same. All the attacks were instantly shattered into dust when they landed on Qin Wenyin. There was no attack that could break his body of laws. It was basically impossible for the Yama King to use his law domain to kill the saber-sword immortal king. Chapter 1495. Haha. The Yama King laughed maniacally when he heard Qin Wentian's words. As his laughter rang out, countless people could feel the heavens and earth trembling. Rumbling sounds rang out in the air. It felt like the entire sky was about to collapse. Many experts who stood extremely far away all retreated. Was the Yama King enraged? If he used his full strength, it was unknown how violent he would be. Right now, the Yama King had obtained the inheritance of a Tao element and was even stronger compared to 30 years ago. This saber-sword immortal king would most probably die if he fought against him. What a pity for a supreme character like him. However, in this great era, how many geniuses would turn to dust? Everyone had a possibility of dying. This saber-sword immortal king wasn't willing to be ordinary and wanted to challenge the Yama King. He must have made his preparations. Rumbling sounds rang out, the law energy in the air was seething as well. Only to see the Yama King's law domain, the Azura Hell, also started howling. Incomparably terrifying energy transformed into a destructive devil king that could devour everything. It was incomparably gigantic, and its gigantic eyes stared at Qin Wenyin as it brandished a gigantic black saber. There has never been anyone who dared to do this before this king. Not even immortal emperors. Today, this king's horizons have truly been broadened. The Yama King coldly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the terrifying destructive devil king slashed out with its saber, splitting apart the mountains and rivers. It was countless times more powerful compared to the demon king earlier. It was simply too terrifying, like a king of slaughter. The law light radiating from Qin Wenyin grew even more resplendent. His constellation manifested, transforming into a gigantic human figure that exuded a heaven-shaking law energy. He then blasted out a supreme palm imprint in the air. With a thunderous boom, the destructive saber light slammed into the palm imprint, completely annihilating it. Is this a constellation formed from your astral soul? You infused law energy into it? However, how long can your law energy endure? The Yama King laughed loudly. He stood with his hands behind his back, resembling a supreme emperor. I've said it before. If you only have the strength of this law domain, stop embarrassing yourself. This seat will give you a chance to unleash your strongest attack. Qin Wenyin inclined his head and stared at the sky. Who is more arrogant than who? Two fellows with the same temperament. Everyone thought to themselves. They were both too arrogant, so arrogant that they considered everyone beneath their notice. Jun Mingchen stared at Qin Wenyin with excitement in his heart. He discovered that his senior brother was truly interesting after he transformed into the saber-sword immortal king. He was actually so tyrannical and domineering. This wasn't like his usual senior brother. Nam Huang Yunxi's beautiful eyes also flashed with a bright light, feeling somewhat bewildered. Qin Wenyin seemed different from the past. Maybe because he had transformed into the saber-sword immortal king, he wanted people to differentiate between him and Qin Wenyin. In the city of ancient emperors, Qin Wenyin only killed people with heaven-defying backgrounds. Although many of them were his enemies, Qin Wenyin didn't want to completely enrage them. The consequences would be unimaginable. My strongest attack? Are you even worthy? The Yama King coldly spoke. Break through my Azura hell first before I show you the other powers of this king. This seat's patience has a limit. I'm giving you a chance, you better cherish it. If not, once this seat kills you, don't blame this seat for not giving you a chance. As for your Azura hell, this seat can directly disregard it. Qin Wentian's tone was as arrogant as ever, completely not putting the Yama King in his eyes. This caused everyone to be completely speechless. This fellow, I've cultivated for so many years, but I've never met someone as arrogant and ignorant as you. Since you want to die so badly, I'll grant you your wish. The Yama King had completely lost his patience. A terrifying destructive might manifested behind him, causing the sky to distort as the void trembled. Numerous demon kings from purgatory appeared in this space. Destroy. The Yama King stretched out his palm. It was like the hand of a devil king, penetrating through everything, directly descending upon the Azura hell. Even the spectators from afar could clearly feel how terrifying the might was. Slash. That terrifying constellation behind Qin Wenyin slashed out with a sword. As this sword slashed out, even the sky lost its color. A river of swords appeared in the Azura hell, gushing forth, piercing through the 9 heavens, slashing towards the Devil King's hand. It was unknown how ferocious the attack power was. However, Qin Wenyin still stood there arrogantly, not moving at all. If the Yama King was like a supreme emperor, a destructive devil god, Qin Wenyin was like a true paragon of swords and sabers, wanting to destroy the heavens. Everyone stared at the silhouette behind Qin Wenyin. That silhouette was formed from constellation, completely formed from law energy. In fact, the saber sword Immortal King's law energy had already been perfectly infused into it. This silhouette shone with a divine-like light, having no flaws at all. It was simply too perfect. Although the saber sword Immortal King couldn't control the laws of heaven and earth in the Azura hell, just based on his constellation alone, he could directly fight against the Yama King, not fearing the chaotic law domain. Puchi! A gigantic spear pierced through the air, piercing towards Qin Wenyin. It was as though a pitch-black hole had appeared in the Azura hell, shooting towards Qin Wenyin. That terrifying destruction Devil King of the Azura hell slashed out once more. Terrifying attacks rained down, wanting to kill Qin Wenyin directly within the Azura hell. You still don't want to give up? Qin Wenyin coldly spoke. The silhouette formed from constellation behind him radiated resplendent beams of light. Each beam was like a torrential sword river, a supreme pagoda will, a towering palm imprint, all of them blasting out unceasingly, causing the Azura hell to tremble. All the attacks were negated by Qin Wenyin. Just based on the strength displayed by the saber sword Immortal King now, most probably even peak stage Immortal Kings wouldn't be his opponent. He's simply too violent. The spectators sighed in admiration. Qin Wenyin was yet another character who could contend against the Supreme Crown Prince. If he waited until his cultivation base was higher and reached the peak stage of the Immortal King realm before he challenged the Yama King, he might really have a chance to win. I've already said it before. This seat's patience is limited. I'll give you 9 more seconds before I take your life. This is your final chance. I'll start the countdown now. Qin Wenyan's eyes pierced through the violent destructive energy, staring straight at the Yama King in the air, unexcelled in the world. 9 again? He wants to kill the Yama King in 9 seconds? Everyone was incomparably shocked when they heard this. Before this, Qin Wenyin scared off the people of the 9 Emperors' immortal state by counting to 9. And now, he actually dared to say such arrogant words to the Yama King. Killing the Yama King in 9 seconds? How can this be possible? This saber sword Immortal King is truly... No one believed in Qin Wenyin. No matter how strong he was, it was impossible for him to have such capabilities. In the entire city of ancient emperors, no one would dare to say such words unless an immortal emperor from another dimension acted. Stop dreaming. The Yama King was simply enraged by Qin Wenyan's arrogance. He wanted nothing more than to kill Qin Wenyin right now. Not only for him, everyone from the Sunluo Immortal Empire felt the same way. Too arrogant, they had never seen such an arrogant fellow before. This saber sword Immortal King must have gone mad, arrogant to the point of ignorance. Someone sighed. No matter how strong he was, no one believed that he would be able to kill the Yama King in 9 seconds. This fellow... Su Qingyao was speechless when she heard Qin Wenyan's words. This bragging was too exaggerated. How could he do it? Fuck! Jun Mingchen roared in excitement, forgetting to curse. He was too agitated. He understood Qin Wenyin very well. He wouldn't speak without thinking and would do what he said. Although he didn't dare to believe it, could it be that his senior brother Qin Wenyan had comprehended a terrifying ability that could kill the Yama King in a single strike? When he thought of this, Jun Mingchen felt his blood boiling. 9 seconds, he wanted to witness these 9 seconds well. 9. Just when everyone was filled with disbelief, Qin Wenyan started counting again. His actions were the same as before when he threatened the people of the 9 Emperors' immortal state, starting from 9. Royal brother, kill him. The Yama King simply couldn't stand it anymore. He had never seen someone so arrogant before. Crown Prince, kill him. The experts from the Sunluo Immortal Empire all pleaded, wanting the Yama King to start a massacre. There was no need to play with him anymore. Ha ha. The Yama King laughed again. This time, the commotion he caused was even greater compared to before. The heavens and earth trembled, as though the heavens and earth were about to crumble apart. Terrifying law energy gushed forth from him, engulfing the entire space. This king is truly enraged. The Yama King laughed loudly. The Azura Hell transformed, transforming into a gigantic maw of darkness, wanting to devour everything in this space. The Crown Prince finally made his move. The people from the Sunluo Immortal Empire all had expressions of excitement on their faces when they saw this. The Azura Hell, once the banishment energy was unleashed, the Saber-Sword Immortal King would be trapped in true hell. 8. Qin Wenyan spoke again. His body moved, stepping out from the Azura Hell, soaring through the air. The heavens and earth rumbled as the entire Azura Hell trembled. However, the Azura Hell at this moment was simply too terrifying. The Yama King roared with laughter as he stretched his palms downwards. Boundless energy gushed forth, shaking the heavens and earth. 7. Qin Wenyan continued counting. His eyes pierced through everything, directly staring into the eyes of the Yama King. Boom! At this instant, the Yama King seemed to be in another dimension. Boundless destructive might gushed towards him, the torrential sword chi river capable of annihilating everything. Scram! The Yama King roared. A demon king appeared and was directly slain. Before him, Qin Wenyan's figure appeared. At this moment, Qin Wenyan was too dazzling. He stood high up in the air, like a divinity. He was above while the Yama King was below. He peered down at everything, exuding an invincible might. 6. Qin Wenyan spoke. The Yama King's expression turned unsightly. Is this your illusory space? It actually has attack power? No wonder you could injure my Yama King with a single glance. But even so, in the illusory space, as long as your attack power surpasses your own, it would be fake. Also, your strength is inferior to mine. How can you win against me? Qin Wenyan didn't say anything. He continued speaking. In the outside world, a similar voice echoed out, shaking the heavens and earth. Qin Wenyan was still soaring up in the air, radiating a fearsome aura. In the illusory space, boundless law energy radiated from Qin Wenyan. He was like a divinity standing in the air, unexcelled in the world. Dual combat? How can this be possible? You can attack both the outside world and the illusory space at the same time? The Yama King's confidence seemed to have wavered. What? The people in the surroundings were all shocked when they heard the Yama King's voice. The Saber-Sword Immortal King brought him into the illusory space? 3. In the dual combat space, another voice rang out, causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. The 9 seconds were almost up. The Saber-Sword Immortal King said that he would kill the Yama King within 9 seconds. Chapter 1496. Although everyone felt that Qin Wenyan was bragging, when Qin Wenyan counted to 3, the hearts of everyone involuntarily tensed. They stared fixedly at the battlefield as they clenched their fists. Even for those from the Sunluo Immortal Empire, they weren't as confident as they imagined. All of their eyes were wide open, as though they were afraid of missing out on any details. What did the Yama King mean earlier? The Saber-Sword Immortal King is still rushing towards him, yet the Yama King said that he was fighting in an illusory space. Could it be that the saber-sword immortal king created an illusory space to attack Qin Wenyin while attacking him from the outside? Their hearts trembled. The saber-sword immortal king right now was simply too terrifying. He soared up into the clouds, cleaving apart all obstacles before him. They didn't see that right now, in another illusory space, Qin Wenyin was even more terrifying than before. His entire body radiated an unexcelled might, like a true divinity. Scram! The Yama King roared. His palms blasted out in the air, blotting out the sky, wanting to destroy everything. Even if his opponent could unleash real attacks in this illusory space, the strength of his attacks would still be limited by his own strength. This meant that as long as he was strong enough, he would be invincible. The illusory space wouldn't be able to bully him, nor would it be able to destroy him. In just an instant, an illusory space appeared, blocking Qin Wenyin. But at this moment, that illusory space was directly destroyed. However, in the next instant, numerous other illusory figures of Qin Wenyin appeared in all directions. It was unknown which of them was real and which was fake. 2. Qin Wenyin roared. The sound of the two illusory spaces rang out at the same time. How can this be? The countenance of the Yama King drastically changed. He naturally tried to break free from this illusory space. Given his powerful will, he should be able to do so. However, even if he managed to break free, the illusory space was still filled with attacks. Such a tyrannical domain must be an extremely powerful illusory domain that his opponent comprehended. This was somewhat similar to his Azura Hell. From a certain perspective, there was no way to break free. Boom! In this space, the heavens and earth trembled as countless figures of Qin Wenyin simultaneously launched their attacks. This time around, the saber-sword immortal king didn't use his saber or sword but his palms instead. A gigantic palm imprint shot out, akin to a divinity's palm imprint. This palm imprint contained towering runic light, and each of the runic light contained a fearsome might. There was a towering sword intent akin to a river of swords, a pagoda intent that could suppress everything, a devil might that could annihilate everything. At this instant, the Yama King could sense that the various attribute attacks from Qin Wenyin were all erupting forth from the palm imprint. 1. Qin Wenyin let out a roar, and a towering divine light drowned everything. All the figures of Qin Wenyin launched their attacks at the same time. What was real and what was fake? King Yama was unable to face so many attacks at the same time. He could only activate his strongest defensive power and bury himself in hell to block everything. Boom! The all-annihilating palm imprint slammed down, as though it was unleashed by a true divinity. Boundless light pierced into his opponent's body as the Yama King roared in rage. At this moment, an illusion appeared in his mind. In the outside world, Qin Wenyin slashed out with the Dream Devil Sword art, wanting to tear everything apart. The Yama King could see that the destructive palm imprint was inscribed with a myriad of innate techniques and techniques. Was there really such a powerful innate technique in the immortal realms? However, the spectators in the outside world couldn't see any of this. They only saw the saber-sword immortal king soaring up, aiming for the Yama King. Time's up. Killing the crown prince? What a fool's dream. An expert from the Sunluo Immortal Empire spoke in disdain. Just based on this strength? As expected, this saber-sword immortal king was just bragging. 9 seconds have passed. Could it be that he can still kill the Yama King with a single sword strike? Everyone silently shook their heads. It was unknown who would die, let alone 9 seconds. However, what they didn't know was that in another dimension, the Yama King's entire body was trembling. That all-destroying energy was wreaking havoc in the hell around him, sweeping across his body. His body trembled violently as he suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble violently. The Yama King stared at the gigantic palm imprint as he called out, "God? Pucci?" At this moment, Qin Wenyin, who was soaring up, had a sharp sword in his hand. With a simple slash, he directly pierced through the throat of the Yama King. The Yama King groaned in misery. In the air, boundless energy directly bore down, annihilating all life. The 3 words God's hand, only managed to utter a single word before the Yama King's body exploded into pieces. He was directly destroyed, his soul disintegrated. Crown Prince, an expert from the Sanluo Immortal Empire, exclaimed in shock as his countenance instantly turned pale. How can this be? Everyone stared in disbelief at the scene before them. After that, their hearts started pounding madly. How can this be? How can this be? Was this an illusion? The sound of that single word continued to reverberate in the air before finally dissipating. 9 seconds, a total of 9 seconds. The Yama King was killed. He actually died in the hands of the Saber-Sword Immortal King. What happened at the very last moment? Was this the same as the attack the Saber-Sword Immortal King used against the Yama King earlier? What exactly did the King of Hell encounter in the illusory realm? The people here were all Empyrean Immortal Kings. They knew that there were some illusionary arts that could distort reality and illusion. However, no matter how strong the illusionary art was, the true attack would only be the same as the user of the illusionary art. It was impossible for the user to surpass the user's attack. Even if the user's aura was strong enough, the Yama King wouldn't be able to kill the Saber-Sword Immortal King even if he was dragged into an illusionary realm. But the Saber-Sword Immortal King wouldn't be able to kill him. But at this moment, the Yama King died. This meant that he didn't manage to block the Saber-Sword Immortal King's attack. The Yama King was the supreme crown prince of the Sanluo Immortal Empire, one of the peak characters in the City of Ancient Emperors. His combat prowess was unparalleled, but he didn't even have time to unleash his ultimate might before he was killed. The Saber-Sword Immortal King wasn't bragging. He did it. No matter what happened earlier, no matter how curious they were, at this moment, their gazes were all turned to Qin Wenyan, who was in the air. The Saber-Sword Immortal King in their eyes, they all thought that the Saber-Sword Immortal King didn't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. Killing the Yama King in 9 seconds? This sounded like a joke, like ignorant arrogance. No one believed it. They all felt that the Saber-Sword Immortal King was ignorant. But at this moment, all their doubts and thoughts were nothing but a joke. They were all destroyed by a single sword strike from the Saber-Sword Immortal King. Just like what he said, he gave the Yama King a chance to unleash his strongest combat prowess. However, even the Yama King himself didn't believe it. Until the moment of his death, no one knew what he was thinking. Su Qingyao stared dumbfoundedly at the scene before her. Her beautiful eyes were completely filled with shock. A light breeze gusted by, causing her skirt to flutter. Her eyelashes fluttered as she blinked. She drew in a deep breath and stared at the supreme figure in the air. After this battle, the Saber-Sword Immortal King's name would resound through the entire City of Ancient Emperors. Even for that 9-tailed fox maiden who had been standing at the peak of the mountain, her beautiful eyes were filled with shock as she stared at Qin Wenyan. Although she had never fought against the Yama King before, she knew that the Yama King was one of the peak characters in the City of Ancient Emperors, and there was no need to doubt his strength. Yet, he actually died in the hands of the Saber-Sword Immortal King. Powerful! Jun Mingchen excitedly roared. This Yama King was incomparably conceited, acting as though he was invincible under the heavens. What about now? Lofty and lofty, as though everyone in the world was inferior to him. Yet, he was killed by the Saber-Sword Immortal King within 9 breaths. As expected, his reputation is undeserved. He can only bully those with lower cultivation bases. My royal brother dominated the City of Ancient Emperors. Who doesn't know of his fame? When did he start bullying those with lower cultivation bases? Yan Luyan's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. Even if his royal brother died, he wouldn't allow himself to be humiliated like this. Fame? In the battle back then, he bullied the Saber-Sword Immortal King because he was a mid-stage Immortal King, wanting the Saber-Sword Immortal King to kneel and repent. After that battle, he was immensely pleased with himself. 30 years later, the Saber-Sword Immortal King returned and stepped into the peak stage of the Immortal King realm, directly killing him. Isn't this enough to prove it? Jun Mingchen coldly spoke. Everyone sighed in their hearts. The Yama King naturally didn't have an undeserved reputation. One could only say that the Saber-Sword Immortal King was too demon level. However, the victor was king and the loser was vilified. The Yama king died in battle. His reputation was destroyed in a single day. Most probably, those who didn't know of him would mock him for having an undeserved reputation, saying that he was merely SOSO. This was the cruelty of the martial path. Even for immortal kings, they still ended up like this. Before this, who would have thought that? Who would dare to imagine? And it was precisely because no one dared to imagine this. Hence, among the immortal kings who came here, there weren't any peak characters present. Only the nine-tailed fox maiden appeared. The others didn't come. Maybe, they felt that this battle wasn't worth watching at all. Another supreme immortal king has been born. Many people silently mused as they stared at Qin Wenin. The winds and clouds in the city of ancient emperors were constantly changing. As expected of the Grand Era, the death of a supreme character was accompanied by the birth of an even more demon-level character. At the end, what did the Yama king mean by God? Does he treat the saber-sword immortal king as a divinity? Everyone stared at Qin Wenin. His magnificence was truly like that of a divinity, lofty and lofty. Qin Wenin glanced at the surroundings, staring at the shocked experts. His expression was calm as he calmly spoke. This seat told him to come here and kneel before me to repent. Maybe I could spare his life. But sadly he wanted to die so badly. Hence, this seat can only grant his wish. The hearts of everyone twitched. This fellow, if this was heard by the Yama king, would he be angered to death again? This arrogance. But when they thought of how Qin Wenin killed the Yama king within 9 seconds, everyone could only sigh in their hearts. Even if one wanted to be arrogant, one must have the ability to back it up. If they could do it, they would also be as arrogant. Chapter 1497. Let's see his emperor's fate. The eyes of everyone turned to the area behind Qin Wenin. They only saw the emperor's fate behind Qin Wenin growing madly, radiating a resplendent divine light that soared up into the 9 heavens. It was simply too dazzling, surpassing the vast majority of the experts here. What terrifying emperor's fate! Just a single battle, and after this news circulates out, his emperor's fate would only grow even more dazzling, trampling on the Yama king to grow stronger. The hearts of the experts mused. For a true demon-level character, just a single battle was already enough, accumulating emperor's fate. Qin Wenin naturally also sensed the changes in the emperor's fate behind him. His entire person felt different. He could clearly see the surroundings of the city of ancient emperors. The inheritance energy from the Tao elements that cascaded downwards grew even clearer, as though he could touch it with his hands. This was also the effect Qin Wenin wanted. It was too troublesome to accumulate emperor's fate through battle after battle. Back then, the Yama king was extremely arrogant before him, wanting him to kneel and apologize or he would kill him. Hence, the first thing he did after he returned was to return the emperor's fate to the Yama king, using a single battle to increase his prestige. Even if he didn't need to battle in the future, his emperor's fate would already be enough to be ranked among the strongest in the city of ancient emperors. Because, as long as his reputation was high, his emperor's fate would continue to grow stronger. Let's go! At this moment, after they calmed down, the experts from the Sunluo Immortal Empire prepared to flee. They transmitted their voices to each other before retreating, intending to leave this place. What? You want to flee? Weren't you very arrogant earlier? Jun Mingchen wasn't far away and had been paying attention to these people from the Sunluo Immortal Empire. Upon seeing them wanting to flee, he immediately spoke, causing the experts from the Sunluo Immortal Empire to freeze. Could it be that you want to restrict our movements? An expert from the Sunluo Immortal Empire coldly stared at Jun Mingchen. Senior brother, you have already killed the crown prince of the Sunluo Immortal Empire. This grudge is already a death grudge. The Sunluo Immortal Empire will definitely think of ways to eliminate you. In the future, you better not reveal your identity no matter what. Also, since you have already offended these people, you might as well get rid of them. Leaving them alive would only be a calamity. Jun Mingchen transmitted his voice to Qin Wenin. Qin Wenin naturally understood this logic. What sort of character was the Yama crown prince? He was only at the immortal king realm, but he was already appointed as the crown prince, towering above all the other princes. Killing the Yama crown prince, the severity of the matter exceeded killing Zidi's son, Zi Daolong. This was already a blood feud. In that case, he naturally had to be more ruthless. Mengchen, you stay out of this and don't interfere. Leave it to me. Qin Wenyan transmitted his voice to Jun Mengchen. He had already formed so many enemies when he transformed into the saber-sword immortal king. He naturally couldn't implicate Jun Mengchen in this. Jun Mengchen understood Qin Wenyan's meaning. He nodded silently and stared at the experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire as he coldly laughed. I don't have enough strength to restrict your movements. If not, you wouldn't even know how you died. This matter has nothing to do with me. After speaking, he retreated, appearing extremely carefree. Everyone had strange looks on their faces. Who here didn't have any schemes? They naturally understood that Jun Mengchen didn't want to create trouble. It was fine to leave this matter to the saber-sword immortal king. There was no need for him to be implicated. After all, he didn't have the blood of experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire on his hands. Did this seat allow you all to leave? Qin Wenyan arrogantly stared at the experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire. Saber-sword immortal king, don't go too far. An expert coldly spoke, his expression extremely unsightly. This saber-sword immortal king could kill the Yama crown prince. This meant that he had the ability to annihilate all of them. Go too far? Qin Wenyan laughed when he heard this. Seems like you guys have forgotten everything that happened before. After speaking, he shook his head. He and the Yama crown prince were total strangers. Because of Su Qingyao, the Yama crown prince wanted him to kneel and beg for mercy. If he was defeated today, who would be the one to die? If he was defeated, the experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire wouldn't even spare Jun Mengchen. Qin Wenyan mockingly stared at the experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire. He took a step forward as a rumbling sound rang out, causing the entire space to tremble. Since this is the case, this seat will go too far today. As the sound of his voice faded, his eyes turned to one of the experts. In just an instant, that person fell into a dreamscape as a torrential sword river slashed over. With a piercing sound, that person died. The experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire all trembled as they released their auras. Saber-sword immortal king. If it wasn't for the despicable methods you used earlier, how would you be able to defeat my elder brother? Yen Luo Tian roared. Before this, he wanted to say this, but in order to preserve his life, he chose to endure it. But now, since this saber-sword immortal king wanted to kill them, there was no need for him to endure it any longer. This seat's methods are all despicable. It's only natural for you guys to win. Qin Wenyan glanced at Yen Luo Tian. At this moment, Yen Luo Tian could clearly sense the scenes he experienced earlier. He had fallen into a dreamscape. All of you, enter for this seat. Qin Wenyan swept his gaze over. In just an instant, all the experts from the Sanluo Immortal Empire were sucked into a dreamscape. Qin Wenyan stood there arrogantly, like a heavenly deity, floating in the air above them. What ability is this exactly? Someone roared in rage. This seat tempered the mortal world, roaming the world for 30 years, seeing all the sceneries in the world and comprehending the power of the myriad of things in the world. Turning illusions into reality, I created this dreamscape. This is my world. Qin Wenyan calmly spoke, not afraid that others would know. So what if they knew? Who could break it? Using dreams as illusions? Dreamscape? The hearts of everyone trembled. This saber-sword immortal king actually comprehended such a unique ability. In the next instant, countless figures of Qin Wenyan appeared in the vast space, all of them resembling divinities. When the light radiated from them, it was like the resonance of the 10,000 laws, boundless might. Since you all yearn for hell, this seat shall send you all on your way there. Qin Wenyan waved his hands, unleashing the might of the 10,000 laws. All sorts of tyrannical attacks rained down on this space. Which attack was real and which attack was fake? All of them had to defend, but they only saw numerous figures falling one after another. In the external world, Countless experts stared at the experts from the Sunluo Immortal Empire who were standing in different locations. All of them screamed in agony as they fell to the ground. In just a few short seconds, all of them died. In fact, the first expert who died didn't even have time to land on the ground before the others were all killed. So this is the Saber-Sword Immortal King? He's too powerful. Even the Yama King was killed within 9 seconds. The other experts from the Sunluo Immortal Empire couldn't even withstand a single strike. At this moment, everyone here truly felt how terrifying Qin Wenyan was. Su Qingyao's shock was the most intense. This was because her interaction with Qin Wenyan could be considered the deepest. Back then, she had personally witnessed the entire battle between Qin Wenyan and had seen him fight several times. Although he was incomparably powerful before and his attacks were incomparably violent, right now, his attacks were extremely simple and quiet. In fact, there wasn't even a tempest in the air, but it was still enough to cause the hearts of people to tremble. Given his current strength, no matter how many immortal kings stood before him, they would all be killed by him. Group battles were basically useless against him. The Sunluo Immortal Empire is in for it. Many people mused. The immortal kings who appeared here were all extremely outstanding immortal kings. This time around, all of them were killed by the Saber-Sword Immortal King. This was simply too tragic. In the past, how arrogant was the Yama King? He had nothing in his eyes, not placing anyone in his eyes. However, no matter how powerful a character is, there would always be a time when he failed. This time around, his arrogance not only caused his death, it even affected the fate of the Sunluo Immortal Empire. This batch of immortal kings who died this time around, although they weren't the strongest experts in the Sunluo Immortal Empire, they were still the core strength of the empire. They were the future pillars of the empire. Now that so many of them were killed, there was no doubt that this would affect the future of the Sunluo Immortal Empire. And the reason for all of this was because of the tyranny of the Yama King 30 years ago. As expected, the river flows east for 30 years, the river flows west for 30 years. Although the experiences of the Saber-Sword Immortal King were simple, it was enough to become a legend in the city of ancient emperors. Is there anyone else who wants to spar with this seat? Qin Wenyan stared at the experts in the surroundings as he calmly spoke. How would anyone dare to reply? Even the Yama King died in his hands. Right now, most probably only those characters at the peak would dare to fight against him. Since there's no one else, this seat will bid farewell. Qin Wenyan calmly spoke. After that, his silhouette flashed as he departed alone. Brother Saber-Sword, take care. Jun Mengchen called out as he chased after Qin Wenyan. Little Rascal blinked, but after that, he heard Qin Wenyan transmitting his voice to him. Just wait there. Little Rascal's strength was already so powerful, and there was also the 9-tailed demon fox beside him. There was no need for him to worry about Little Rascal's safety. There was no need for him to follow him, or he might attract suspicion. Namhuang Yunshi stared at the departing figure. Su Qingyao also stared at Qin Wenyan, who was gradually disappearing. Both of them were speechless for a long time as many emotions filled their hearts. The Saber-Sword Immortal King. Everyone mumbled as they dispersed. Very swiftly, the news of the Saber-Sword Immortal King killing the Yama King in 9 seconds shook the entire city of ancient emperors. Countless experts were shocked. Just this battle record alone made everyone remember a name: the Saber-Sword Immortal King. For those who mocked the Saber-Sword Immortal King earlier when they heard the Saber-Sword Immortal King calling him the Yama King, all of them regretted not going to spectate the battle back then. They felt that they had missed out on something. Many immortal kings in the immortal realms were discussing. Which power did this Saber-Sword Immortal King belong to? Where did he come from? Why haven't they heard of his name before? Such a character shouldn't be nameless. Several months later, on the peak of an ancient mountain, a figure quietly sat there. Majestic amounts of Emperor's fate behind him soared up into the 9 heavens, terrifying to the extreme. He actually connected with the Tao element's inheritance that cascaded downwards, as though he could directly sense the power of the inheritance. This figure was none other than Qin Wenyan. As time flowed by, the Emperor's fate behind him grew stronger and stronger. There was no longer a need for him to fight and plunder Emperor's fate. As expected of a Tao element from the upper world, truly extraordinary. Mengchen, the Tao element you comprehended is the Tao element of the world? Qin Wentian asked. Not far away from him, there was a figure sitting there. This person was none other than Jun Mengchen. Yes, senior brother, there shouldn't be too many people who can inherit this Tao element, right? Jun Mengchen nodded. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. The Tao element will only acknowledge a single person. If you want to inherit it, you will be bound by the restrictions of the city of ancient emperors. You have to defeat all enemies in the world before you can verify your Tao. Mengchen, you have to walk your path well. Chapter 1498. Jun Mengchen's eyes gleamed with sharpness. If he wanted to seize a Tao element, he had to defeat everyone in the world. At the very least, he had to become the sole inheritor of this Tao element. Don't worry, senior brother, I won't have many enemies. Jun Mengchen didn't mind it too much as he calmly spoke. Don't be too careless. I can clearly sense the power of the Tao elements through my emperor's fate. The power of each Tao element is all-encompassing and your physique is suitable for this world-type Tao element. Maybe the cultivation of others might be different from you, but they are also suitable for comprehending this Tao element. In addition, everyone here are immortal kings. There are also immortal emperors in the city of ancient emperors. They should be experiencing this as well. Qin Wentian reminded. Right. Jun Mengchen smiled and nodded. Senior brother, what about you? You have such a powerful emperor's fate and your comprehension abilities are high. Why don't you choose a Tao element? Or should I say, you want to comprehend many Tao elements at the same time? The powers of Tao elements repel each other. You can only choose one. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. This was what he comprehended during these few days. Jun Mengchen's eyes flashed, feeling somewhat taken aback. In that case, senior brother, what would you choose? Jun Mengchen asked again. I won't accept the Tao element's inheritance first or I will be bound by it. I will temporarily comprehend it and not use it to cultivate. In that case, I won't be bound by it and can make other plans later. Qin Wentian slowly spoke. He borrowed the emperor's fate and could sense the light from the Tao elements even more clearly. Among them, there were Buddhist-type Tao elements, spatial Tao elements, reincarnation Tao elements, world Tao elements. Each of these Tao elements were all-encompassing and extremely terrifying. Once you borrowed the power of a Tao element to cultivate, you would be bound by it. You have to struggle and fight, defeating all enemies in the world before you could verify your Tao. If it was tens of years ago, no one would have thought that the city of ancient emperors would be so terrifying. Right now, it has already been many years since the city of ancient emperors transformed. Everyone in the immortal realms believed a single fact. Back then when the Tiandao Sacred Academy appeared, it meant that this was the era of ancient emperors. In this city of ancient emperors, there would definitely be ancient emperors. It was only a matter of time. Thus, everyone felt that time was of the essence. They had to prove their Tao as soon as possible so that they could have a chance to stop the others. Yes, senior brother is extremely talented. You will definitely be able to walk a path that no one has ever walked before. Jun Mengchen believed in Qin Wentian as always. Mengchen, right now many people in the city of ancient emperors are paying attention to me. You shouldn't be too involved with me. You should change a location to cultivate. Qin Wentian and Jun Mengchen nodded. After that, they stood up and departed. Senior brother, we all want to stand at the peak of the immortal realms. As he spoke, his figure flashed and he tore through the sky and left. Qin Wentian continued to cultivate with his eyes closed, observing the orthodoxy in silence. He paid no attention to the outside world, nor did he care about grudges. However, the tree may long for peace, but the wind won't cease. Qin Wentian no longer stirred up trouble. But because of the battle back then, his emperor's fate was too strong. There were naturally many Empyreans who wanted to imitate him. Right now, everyone in the city of ancient emperors knew that the saber-sword immortal king's fame had soared, obtaining a supreme amount of emperor's fate. As long as one defeated the saber-sword immortal king, they might be able to replace him. Today, a supreme peak stage immortal king stood before Qin Wenyan, radiating an intense battle intent. Thunder and lightning circulated around him, causing the sky to change color as the wind and clouds changed color. He stood before Qin Wenyan, radiating an intense battle intent. "You are the saber-sword immortal king?" This expert stared at Qin Wenyan, his voice rumbling like thunder. "Scram." Qin Wenyan closed his eyes as he spoke. "You are truly as arrogant as the rumors say. Saber-sword immortal king, this seat comes from the Thunder God Hall. I would like to experience your strength." That expert spoke, his voice shaking the heavens and earth. Numerous bolts of lightning slammed down from all directions, causing the earth to crumble. "Bzz." A mysterious aura suddenly bore down on him. In just an instant, the immortal king of the Thunder God Hall frowned. He discovered that right now, he was in an independent space, not belonging to the external world. As expected, this is an illusion. His eyes flashed as lightning rumbled, sweeping over everything. But at this moment he only saw a torrential sword river gushing forth, engulfing everything. With a roar of rage, the 9 layers of lightning transformed into terrifying lightning dragons that danced in the air, rushing towards the sword river. The sky changed color as the sun and moon lost their radiance. Pucci! Beams of resplendent sword intent slashed through everything. In the next instant, his head was directly severed. In the external world, far away from the ancient mountain where Qin Wenyan was cultivating, there were many experts watching this battle with their immortal senses. When they saw this scene, their hearts trembled violently, extremely shocked. This was simply too powerful. Was this the saber-sword immortal king? They only saw the 9 layers of lightning roaring, but Qin Wenyan didn't move at all. In fact, he didn't even open his eyes, he just quietly sat there. A peak stage immortal king's head was actually severed. This scene was simply too shocking. The saber-sword immortal king mustn't be antagonized. Many people silently mused. After that, they retracted their immortal senses and departed, no longer daring to target Qin Wenyan. If they wanted to use Qin Wenyan to rise to fame, they had to be prepared to die. The saber-sword immortal king wouldn't give them a chance to retreat unscathed. What sort of character was the saber-sword immortal king? He even dared to kill the supreme crown prince of the Sunluo immortal empire. Was there anyone he didn't dare to kill? If he spared those who challenged him, there would only be more and more people challenging him. This saber-sword immortal king clearly wanted to intimidate everyone. If they wanted to challenge him, they had to be prepared to be killed. And as expected, this battle shocked many experts, allowing Qin Wenyan to quietly comprehend and cultivate. At this moment, many changes occurred in the city of ancient emperors. More and more ruins appeared, all of them belonged to immortal emperors. In fact, there were even ruins of ancient emperors appearing, causing a huge commotion. This caused many people to sigh. As expected of the city of ancient emperors. In this city, there were many ruins that were hidden in the darkness. Now that the great era has arrived, the Tao elements descended upon the city of ancient emperors, causing many ancient ruins to be excavated. However, all of this didn't seem to affect Qin Wenyan. He was like a transcendent being, ignoring the happenings in the city of ancient emperors and cultivating alone. Today, there was finally someone who couldn't endure it any longer and came to provoke Qin Wenyan. This person was a peak stage demon king, a character from the royal clan of the Desolate Mountains. His ending was the same as the expert from the Thunder God Hall earlier. He was directly slain by Qin Wenyan, showing no mercy. Time flowed by. The experts in the city of ancient emperors contended against each other. However, gradually, those characters who stood at the peak all became transcendent beings. If they didn't contend against each other, no one would be able to replace their position. These existences gradually became the symbol of the city of ancient emperors. Among them, the saber-sword immortal king was one of them. They gradually stopped participating in the disputes in the city of ancient emperors and focused on cultivating, comprehending the Tao elements instead. It has been 20 years since the saber-sword immortal king killed the Yama king. During these 20 years, many extraordinary characters appeared in the city of ancient emperors, but there was still no one who could challenge the positions of those characters who stood at the peak. However, although they couldn't challenge those characters, one couldn't deny that many extraordinary characters appeared during these 20 years. The number of people breaking through increased as many mid-stage immortal kings broke through to the peak stage. Similarly, there were also many initial stage immortal kings who broke through to the mid-stage. During these 10 years, another batch of outstanding characters appeared. An example was Jun Mengchen, who obtained the Dao element. His strength was extraordinary and his combat prowess was unparalleled. It was like he was only a step away from stepping into the peak stage of the immortal king realm, becoming a peak existence. There was also Hua Taishu, who also comprehended the Dao element. In addition, he seemed to have undergone a transformation. His comprehension was extremely deep and his cultivation base had also reached the peak stage of the mid-stage. He became famous because not long ago, he killed a group of demonic beasts. These demonic beasts originated from the Desolate Mountain Range and were none other than the royal race of the Desolate Mountain Range, the Sun Gold Demon race. Hua Taishu, with a cultivation base at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm, slaughtered over 10 greater demons of the Sun Gold Demon race in a single battle. Among them, there were even peak-stage immortal kings. This battle caused his name to resound through the city of ancient emperors. His emperor's fate was incomparably majestic. Right now, Hua Taishu was being hunted down by that peak-stage character from the Sun Gold Demon race. It was rumored that the cause of this matter was a female, a beautiful immortal king from the immortal realms. She died in the hands of a greater demon from the Sun Gold Demon race. Other than this, a heaven-devouring beast appeared in the city of ancient emperors. He was extremely strange and lecherous. He loved to disguise himself as a cute little demon and hide in the embrace of the nine-tailed demon fox. Also, whenever he saw a beautiful woman, he would try to befriend her, causing many greater demons to be unhappy and wanted to kill him. However, his strength was already extraordinary. The greater demons at the peak stage of the Demon King realm couldn't even withstand a single strike and were devoured by him. During these 10 years, more Dao elements appeared in the city of ancient emperors, allowing the people in the city of ancient emperors to comprehend them. At this moment, in a certain location in the city of ancient emperors, there was a group of beautiful immortal kings. They were all surrounding a single person, as though they were protecting her. That person sat cross-legged, exuding an incomparably holy aura, like a goddess sitting there. From the sky, the light from the Dao element cascaded downwards, entering her body, causing her beauty to be even more holy. There were many immortal kings in the surroundings. Some had looks of admiration on their faces, some had evil gleams in their eyes, and there were even some who had killing intent. They were all people who obtained the same Dao element and wanted to eliminate this woman. This Dao element was none other than a spatial Dao element. Who is she exactly? Someone asked. Obtaining a Dao element at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm, there aren't many people like this. She definitely wouldn't be nameless. She's the princess of the Evergreen Kingdom, Evergreen Qing. She's the most doted-on daughter of Changqing the Great, an innate immortal king with a spatial physique. It's rumored that she's extremely sensitive to spatial energy, hence she obtained a spatial Dao element. Such a background, such beauty, such talent. Seems like she's going to attract the attention of many geniuses in the immortal realms. Someone sighed. Evergreen Qing already has a fiancé. Back then, this matter caused a huge commotion in the eastern regions of the immortal realms. Who? Qin Wenin of the immortal Qianbian Gate, the inheritor of ancient Emperor Yi. Why haven't I heard of this person before? He seems to be nameless in the city of ancient emperors. Someone spoke in bewilderment. I'm also puzzled. Given Qin Wentian's reputation and personality back then, he should be in the city of ancient emperors. Yet, he didn't appear at all. It's like he has vanished completely. This is a little strange. One must know that back then, he was someone who ascended to the peak of the Demon God Mountain. Old Devil Duo Tian and the Dongxing Heaven Emperor wanted to kill him, but he was rescued by the Southern Phoenix Matriarch. Oh yeah, He didn't come because he's worried about revenge. He has offended too many people, and the immortal kings of the major powers are all here. If they see Qin Wenin, they would definitely kill him. Many people discussed, their gazes were still fixed on the silhouette of that woman. Chapter 1499. Qing was incomparably pure and holy, like a goddess. The maidens around her were naturally her fellow sect members, GD's disciples. Who would have thought that junior sister Qing would actually be the first to comprehend a Tao element? A maiden sighed. All of them cultivated spatial energy and yearned to comprehend a Tao element. However, among all of them, Qing was the first to comprehend it. In the future, if any of us sisters comprehend the same Tao element, we are not to kill each other. We have to be united against outsiders first. Do you understand? A senior apprentice sister stared at the others as she spoke. The maidens all nodded. If there was another person who comprehended a spatial Tao element, even if they were sisters of the same sect, cracks might appear. But before that, it was best for them to be united against outsiders first. Among the spectators, there was a group of short and small figures with wretched appearances. However, they were clad in luxurious violet gold robes and gave off an incongruous feeling. The eyes of this group of people were very small and shifty-eyed. With a single glance, one could tell that they weren't humans. They were demonic beasts in human form. What should we do? They secretly transmitted their voices to each other. Many turned their gazes to a figure in the middle. This person's physique was slightly more muscular, but he was still very short when compared to the others. However, his eyes were extremely sharp. Boss has already comprehended a spatial Tao element for many years. We can't allow others to threaten him. As long as someone comprehended a spatial Tao element, kill them all. That figure in the middle transmitted his voice back. After that, they all nodded and continued to communicate. Their bodies gradually spread out, forming an arc as they surrounded GD's followers. Emichim? Someone noticed this as their eyes gleamed with sharpness. It's those fellows, they want to act. It's the void beasts. These vile beasts are all extremely wretched, but they are very united. Before this, they hunted down an Empyrean who comprehended a spatial Tao element, and now, they want to act again. The crowd in the surroundings also conversed. These void beasts were clearly extremely famous. After all, the rules of the city of ancient emperors had changed for many years. Some of the more famous characters and demonic beasts were already known to the public. What do you guys want to do? Upon seeing the commotion in the surroundings, GD's followers naturally discovered the void beasts surrounding them. Unrelated people, scram. The leader of the void beasts coldly spoke. Instantly, the surrounding people retreated, not wanting to be implicated. The void beasts were a powerful royal race in the desolate mountains, and their strength was extraordinary. As long as they didn't act against them, they naturally wouldn't interfere. Be careful, these ugly, stinky rats want to attack junior sister Qing Air. Cold, a woman spoke. Instantly, the experts of the void beast race all bared their fangs, revealing malevolent expressions. I hate it the most when people say this king is ugly. The void beast in the lead released a terrifying pressure, its demonic chi forming a storm. Also, we're not rats, we're void beasts. Another expert coldly spoke. The original form of the void beasts was the rat race, and they were mutated rat kings. However, they didn't want to admit that they were from the rat race and only said that they were void beasts. Also, they hated it the most when people said they were ugly. Earlier, the words of that woman undoubtedly stabbed into their sore spot. They didn't want to hear it. In an instant, the incomparably violent demonic chi transformed into a golden void tempest, wreaking havoc in this space. The people in the surroundings frantically retreated. Although these void beasts were ugly, there was no need to doubt their strength. It was rumored that the old ancestor of the void beasts dared to challenge the Forok race. Void World Barrier. The disciples from Matriarch Ji's sect also erupted forth with powerful spatial energy. In just an instant, boundless spatial light shimmered, transforming into an incomparably resplendent spatial barrier that shone brightly in the surroundings, protecting this vast region, not allowing anyone to invade. BZZ, BZZ, BZZ. Only to see that this spatial barrier actually had no effect at all. Those void beasts directly penetrated through, rushing into this region. In an instant, they reverted to their original forms, which were incomparably ugly and malevolent. They bared their fangs and directly bit at the people from Matriarch G's sect. As expected of a void beast, moving unhindered through the void. It's too domineering, able to ignore the void barrier created by the power of space. The spectators felt their hearts trembling. However, the reputation of GD's followers wasn't undeserved. Although there weren't any peak characters among them, their disciples were all extraordinary as well. This was especially so for those who were currently in the city of ancient emperors. All of them pointed their fingers forward. Their slender jade-like hands exuded an incomparably terrifying spatial energy, causing the wind and clouds in the sky to change. The void trembled violently, transforming into terrifying scrolls that blotted out the sky, capable of annihilating everything as they slashed out. GD's ultimate technique, Immortal Slaying Diagram. The eyes of the spectators gleamed with sharpness as they recognized this technique. It was none other than the Immortal Slaying Diagram. Everyone's Immortal Slaying Diagram was activated using spatial energy. However, there were differences between them because other than spatial energy, they were also proficient in different attribute energies. Hence, the Immortal Slaying Diagram was all-encompassing, capable of transforming into all sorts of terrifying attacks. Insignificant tricks. A cold voice rang out. These void beasts actually didn't dodge at all. They slashed out with their sharp claws, transforming into millions of afterimages. In an instant, countless golden claws slashed out towards the diagram, as though wanting to dig out all the energy within it. Boom! One of the void beasts actually directly dug out the Immortal Slaying Diagram and rushed out. Its sharp claws slashed out, causing a piercing sound to ring out. A female immortal king screamed in fear as a terrifying wound appeared on her face. As expected of a rat-type beast. The hearts of everyone trembled. The attack speed of these void beasts was simply too terrifying, resembling rats digging holes. However, it was far from what ordinary rat-type demonic beasts could compare to. Regardless of speed or strength, they were both terrifying to the extreme. Void beasts are the nemesis of those who are proficient in spatial energy. They are natural-born void walkers, yet they are still able to break through the spatial energy of others, directly traversing through space. Although these rat-type beasts are ugly, they actually have such talent. The heavens are truly showing kindness and might, giving them an ugly appearance that can't be seen by others yet bestowed them with the ability to traverse through space. Someone mused silently. A group battle instantly erupted. A terrifying storm ravaged the surroundings. The crowd continued to retreat. The ancient mountains far away were directly shattered into pieces as fissures appeared on the ground. The GD's followers were somewhat on the passive side. Space-type energy was one of the most powerful attribute energies and had an advantage compared to other attributes. But in front of these void beasts, they were actually at a disadvantage. Ching, be careful. At this moment, a voice rang out, only to see a void beast breaking through the obstruction, directly dashing towards Qing, who was still comprehending the Tao element. Its ugly eyes flashed with a hint of evil. Such a beautiful girl was killed just like that. What a pity! It stretched out its sharp golden claws, causing malevolent golden spikes to appear on those claws, piercing towards Qing. If she was struck by those spikes, she would definitely be torn to shreds. The spectators from afar couldn't help but feel their hearts palpitating. This void beast was truly ruthless, ruthlessly destroying a flower. At this moment, incomparably resplendent spatial runes gushed forth from Qing, transforming into independent spatial runes that hovered before her. Her cold eyes abruptly opened as she stretched out her jade-like hands. Those independent spatial runes transformed into a fearsome spatial prison, directly trapping the void beast within. This time around, The void beast that could traverse through space was actually restricted by Qing. A sharp screech rang out. The void beast used its innate talent to traverse through space, wanting to break free from the spatial prison. His body radiated a resplendent light, yet he discovered that he was still unable to move. His ugly eyes gleamed with a ferocious light. Qing-er's countenance was as cold as ice. She blasted out with her jade-like palms as a picture scroll appeared, directly sweeping through the air, enveloping the void beast within it. After that, the void beast was actually sucked into the picture scroll, banishing it to another dimension. A scream of agony rang out from within, causing the eyes of the void beast to gleam with baleful light as they rushed towards Qing-er with even more frenzy. Qing-er stood up. When she saw several of her fellow apprentice sisters being injured and one of them being killed, her face instantly flashed with killing intent. Her silhouette flashed as she directly rushed towards a direction, joining the battle. This evergreen Qing-er is so powerful. As expected of someone who comprehended a spatial Tao element. The spectators all sighed in admiration when they saw Qing-er's combat prowess. She was already able to fight against peak-stage immortal kings. But even so, her side was still in a disadvantageous position. After all, their spatial laws were countered by the void beasts. The commotion caused by the battle here was extremely great. Spatial tempests manifested as people from afar rushed over. "What's going on?" A cold voice rang out. 3 figures descended from the void. The one in the middle was extremely terrifying. Although he had an ugly appearance, he exuded an aura of might. "Boss, that woman has comprehended a Tao element. Eat her." A void beast pointed to Qing-er, courting death. Even if there was no need for him to say it, that expert who just arrived also wanted to act when he saw his clansmen fighting. His robes fluttered in the wind as he grabbed out with his palm. A moment later, countless sharp claws manifested, shooting towards Qing. The entire space was enveloped by the shadow of the claws, and the speed of the claws was extremely fast. A peak-stage immortal king, a void beast king. The hearts of everyone trembled. Did her best to defend, but with a boom, a tear appeared on her robes as blood flowed out. "Vile creature, you dare?" From afar, a violent voice rang out, shaking the heavens and earth. That void beast king glanced over only to see a young and handsome figure rushing over with no expression on his face. He then unleashed another attack towards Qing-er, showing no mercy. Boom! The figure from afar directly punched out with the speed of a shooting star, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. With a thunderous boom, that punch arrived first despite being launched later. It was actually so fast to an inconceivable extent, shattering the countless sharp claws. "It's Junmengchen. He actually rushed over here. Seems like this battle is going to escalate." The hearts of everyone trembled. During these 10 years, Junmengchen's fame in the city of ancient emperors grew greater and greater. Chapter 1500. A violent wind gusted by. Junmengchen soared through the air, appearing before the void beast king. Why is Junmengchen here? Could it be that he is in love with Evergreen Qing? Someone asked in bewilderment. Evergreen Qing-er's fiancé is Qin Wenyin, and Qin Wenyin is the senior brother of Junmengchen. The two of them have an extremely good relationship. An expert who was more familiar with the eastern region spoke, his words causing many people who were puzzled to be enlightened. "You bunch of ugly rats, how dare you injure my sister-in-law?" Junmengchen roared, his cold eyes swept over to the void beasts. He stared at the void beast king, his eyes flickering with a powerful killing intent. "Chi-chi." The void beasts all inclined their heads and stared at Junmengchen, baring their sharp fangs. The void beast king in the lead radiated killing intent as it stared at Junmengchen. "You dare to humiliate us void beasts? So what of it?" Junmengchen pointed his finger at the void beast king as he coldly spoke. "Why don't you look at yourself in the mirror and see how ugly you are? You still dare to come out to harm others and humiliate you? Since you dared to injure my sister-in-law, I want the lives of all of you vile creatures." How could the void beast king endure this? It directly acted. Its sharp claws slashed out, transforming into golden swords that sliced through the void, slicing through everything, aiming for Jun Mingchen's body. It was extremely terrifying. If he was struck by this attack, his body would most probably be split into two. Jun Mingchen radiated an incomparably violent aura of an emperor. Boundless light cascaded downwards, enveloping him. With a roar of rage, the heavens and earth changed color as he punched out with his fist, containing boundless might within, shattering that terrifying attack, causing the Void Beast King's attack to explode. Pucci! The Void Beast King directly traversed through the void, appearing before Jun Mingchen in an instant. It was too fast. The talent of void beasts that were known as Voidwalkers was simply too terrifying. They ignored distance and their sharp claws pierced towards Jun Mingchen's eyes, wanting to use the simplest and most violent method to kill this person who humiliated them. How terrifying! Many people broke out in cold sweat for Jun Mingchen. He traversed through the void and unleashed an instant kill attack. It seemed as though there was no way to evade this attack. Just as it was about to kill Jun Mingchen suddenly transformed into a supreme emperor. Boundless light revolved around him as layers of light screens enveloped him. This light screen contained boundless might, and the Void Beast King's tyrannical attack was actually unable to break through this light screen defense. The eyes of the Void Beast King flashed. Its sharp claws continued to slash out. No space could block the attacks of the Void Beast King. Can you break through it? Jun Mingchen roared. Emperor light shone resplendently as a destructive might gushed forth from him, wanting to engulf his opponent. However, the Void Beast King's reaction was also extremely fast. It directly traversed through the void and retreated. The space before Jun Mingchen was completely engulfed by the destructive might. Those who saw this scene all felt their hearts trembling. However, the Void Beast King was already standing far away. Is this the power of Jun Mingchen's world energy? Everyone stared at the resplendent light screen around Jun Mingchen. Within it, there seemed to be a world of its own, containing the power of the entire world. Right now, Jun Mingchen's physique was no longer a secret. It was an extremely rare world physique. Given his cultivation base at the peak stage of the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm, he became famous in the city of ancient emperors, able to contend against demon-level peak-stage immortal kings. BZZ. From afar, more and more experts arrived. Many demons from the desolate mountains appeared, watching this battle with interest. Ugly rat? Were you humiliated by humans? One of the demonic beasts spoke. His stature was also short and extremely ugly, comparable to the Void Beast in human form. Yet, he still dared to call the Void Beast an ugly rat? How interesting. The Void Beast King coldly glanced over. How can I be uglier than your Heavenhold race? After being humiliated by humans, could it be that you want to vent your anger on my Heavenhold race? If it was my Heavenhold race, how would these people be able to survive until now? That expert from the Heavenhold race grinned. He turned his gaze to Qing'er and the others as his eyes brightened. These human beauties aren't bad. It would be a pity to kill them all. Why don't we enjoy the taste of human beauties first? We have been fighting in the city of ancient emperors for so many years, and it has been a long time since we tasted the taste of human beauties. I really miss the days when we invaded the immortal realms. As the sound of his voice faded, many humans had expressions of anger on their faces. Their eyes gleamed coldly as they stared at the experts from the Heavenhold race. What are you guys looking at? Do you guys want to fight? Although these demonic beasts from the Heavenhold race were ugly, they were extremely confident in their ugliness. Your looks are already disgusting enough, but your words are even more disgusting. How can there be a bunch of beasts like you in this world? You are simply dirtying my eyes. Jun Mingchen coldly spoke to these experts from the Heavenhold race. Jun Mingchen, although it's true that you have some fame in the city of ancient emperors, you actually dared to insult my Heavenhold race? You are truly courting death. Ugly rat, quickly make your move and leave a few human beauties for us. I want them alive, especially that princess. This seat wants her. That expert from the Heavenhold race pointed to Qing as he spoke. Beasts will always be beasts. You are still uncivilized. Taking human form is an insult to humanity. If I don't destroy you guys, my name isn't Jun Mingchen. Jun Mingchen coldly spoke. A terrifying tempest manifested as terrifying law energy erupted forth. A terrifying world diagram flew out from behind Jun Mingchen, expanding unceasingly, blotting out the sun. Are you insulting the demons of the desolate mountains? A bone-chilling voice rang out. This voice originated from an expert from the Netherworld race. He was also in human form and was spectating the battle. When he heard Jun Mingchen's words, he couldn't help but to speak. Those demons who run amok in the immortal realms are all beasts. I have to destroy them all. Jun Mingchen inclined his head and stared at the expert from the Netherworld race as he coldly replied. Back then when the demon god mountain appeared, the greater demons of the desolate mountains invaded the immortal realms. Many of them were extremely arrogant and domineering. He had long since disliked them. If he could cultivate to the peak of the immortal realms, he would definitely make these demons scram back to the desolate mountains. Everyone, what do you all think? The Void Beast King coldly spoke. A low-sounding roar rang out as more and more demonic beasts walked out from all directions. Their cold eyes stared at Jun Mingchen. One of the demonic beasts grinned. The immortal realms are truly a good place. Right now, I'm in the city of ancient emperors and I'm not free. If not, I would definitely stay in the human world and enjoy the feeling of being an emperor. Humans have occupied the immortal realms for so many years and have already treated themselves as the masters. However, it's true that there are many good places in the human world. For example, the Jadestige Immortal Palace, the nine-tailed demon fox race, and also the Namhuang clan. These maidens are all beauties. If I can capture all of them, I would definitely enjoy them to my heart's content. These demonic beasts spoke in an unbridled manner. In truth, during those years when they were in the immortal realms, there were indeed many places in the immortal realms that were in chaos. Many people died in their hands. Don't any of you have any thoughts? Jun Mingchen roared. He stared at the humans around him, Wu Xiu. However, he discovered that many of them didn't have any intentions to participate in the battle. They still had the attitude of having nothing to do with them. You humans are the ones who are truly despicable and lowly. You are all extremely selfish. A demonic beast impolitely insulted. Impudent. An immortal king couldn't endure it any longer. He stepped out, and after that, several other powerful immortal kings stepped out as well, radiating coldness. Very swiftly, the atmosphere in this space became incomparably violent. The demonic chi and the auras of human immortal kings gushed forth. Very swiftly, the wind and clouds in this space changed as a supreme might manifested, transforming into a terrifying tempest. Even from extremely far away, everyone could see the situation here. What's going on? The auras are so terrifying. From afar, people inclined their heads and stared over as their hearts trembled. After that, their silhouettes flashed as they flew over. Emichim? A group of experts radiated resplendent light, as though they were cast from gold. When they saw the situation, expressions of interest could be seen on their faces as they soared up into the air, riding on golden war chariots. Hence, the might in the air grew stronger and stronger as the tempest intensified. Not long after, the place where Qing and the others were at actually became a gathering place for experts. It was unknown how many powerful immortal kings were standing in the air. Something major is going to happen. Someone sighed. In truth, during these 10 years, the battles in the city of ancient emperors were no longer as intense as before. The situation was already set, no one could shake the positions of those at the peak. All the experts were busy with their cultivation and the battles were much less compared to the past. But now, such a terrifying tempest actually appeared. Even the disciples of Matriarch Ji and the experts of the Void Beast race didn't expect such a situation to occur. The people of the Void Beast race only wanted to kill Qing who had comprehended the spatial Dao element. They didn't expect that they would attract such a huge storm. Qing's cold eyes stared at the surroundings. Countless experts were gathered here. Regardless of the demons of the desolate mountains or humans of the immortal realms, there were many of them. In fact, there were even many devil cultivators from the myriad devil islands here. They were like existences in the darkness, appearing very quiet, but they were all extremely dangerous characters. There are people who say that our demons of the desolate mountains are uncivilized and want to destroy us. What do you all think of this? An expert from the Heavenhold race coldly spoke. Who said that? Your Heavenhold race can go and destroy him. Whoever dares to obstruct us, kill them without mercy. A cold voice rang out. It was none other than the king of the desolate mountains. As for these women, leave them to me and those rats. Do you all have any objections? That expert from the Heavenhold race pointed to GD's disciples as he spoke. As long as you all can capture them, they will be yours. Another demonic beast spoke. They coldly stared at the humans in the surroundings, as though as long as humans dared to help, they would be annihilated. Chapter 1501. Jun Mingchen's expression turned even colder when he heard these arrogant voices. Earlier in the gazing Emperor City, he had already experienced how tyrannical these demonic beasts were. Right now, they were the same in the city of ancient emperors, completely disregarding the humans of the immortal realms. Although the desolate 10,000 mountain range rose up and the demon god mountain appeared, humans were after all the spirits of all living things. How could they allow these demonic beasts to humiliate and trample on them like this? A bunch of lowly beasts. Let's roast them and eat them after we slaughter them. Who dares to fight alongside me? Jun Mingchen roared, his battle intent surging. Whoever dares to interfere, we will kill them without mercy. An expert from the Sun Gold race coldly spoke, threatening the human Wu Xiu. After all, this matter was started by you, Jun Mingchen, insulting the demonic beasts first. Let him settle this himself, don't be used by others. A human named Wu Xiu spoke, hiding in the shadows. Who? Jun Mingchen's eyes flashed as he coldly spoke. After being humiliated by these vile beasts, you actually dare to say such words? Cowardly rats, I'm ashamed to be associated with you. What? You are the one who caused this and can't handle it yourself? You want to pull the humans of the city of ancient emperors to fight for you? Using us like this, do you really think we are fools? That voice rang out again, echoing through the air. If these demons continue to humiliate me, human Wu Xiu, it won't be too late for us to start a war with them. So much nonsense. Have you finished discussing? If you have, we are going to act. The Void Beast King's eyes gleamed with coldness as he stared at Jun Mingchen. Since these humans are smart, there's no need to bother with them. Let's finish them off first. As for those beautiful women, just leave them to my clan. The Heavenhold race spoke. A bunch of vile beasts, you guys should scram back to the desolate mountains. A group of experts walked over, they were all from the heavenly talisman realm. Tuoba Saint Sky was among them, his eyes sweeping over the demons. Other than this, the experts from the Namhuang clan also arrived. They stood beside Jun Mingchen and GD's followers, making preparations to fight side by side. The Namhuang clan is here as well. This is interesting. We can have some fun this time around. An expert from the Heavenhold clan revealed a look of excitement. Let's begin. In the air, a netherworld AO coldly spoke. In an instant, many demonic beasts moved. The void beasts transformed into their true forms, bearing their sharp fangs as they tore through the air towards the GD's followers. The experts of the Heavenhold clan stepped forward, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. They had boundless strength and were born with divine strength, able to lift the heavens. When they attacked, the heavens and earth rumbled like thunder. Boom! A gigantic demonic ape trampled on the ground. Many demonic beasts took action one after another, starting a massacre, preparing to get rid of these humans. Kill! Jun Mingchen's aura was incomparably violent. His world diagram transformed into a majestic world, enveloping the heavens and earth. In an instant, he was like an emperor of the mortal world, fully armed. Lifting his palm, he blasted out a golden fist. This fist was incomparably resplendent, piercing through the heavens and earth as the golden energy of the entire world flowed into it. Boom! The golden emperor fist that resembled a shooting star pierced through the heavens and earth, blasting towards a demonic beast from the Heavenhold race. That greater demon from the Heavenhold race had boundless strength and also punched out fearlessly. After the two fists collided, the greater demon only felt a majestic pressure pressing down on him. Crisp cracking sounds rang out as his bones shattered. His arm exploded inch by inch, causing fresh blood to splatter everywhere. His eyes widened as his heart pounded wildly. With a roar, he wanted to expand his body, but how could he make it in time? When his attack was about to be rewarded, everything had already been decided. The fist light pierced through his body, directly piercing through his heart. The greater demon from the Heavenhold race lowered his head and stared at his chest. Even his heart had been blasted apart. A hole could be seen in his body as he fell to the ground in terror. A single punch killed. Roar! A thunderous roar rang out. A peak stage demon king from the Heavenhold race transformed into a gigantic divinity, exuding boundless energy as he rushed towards Jun Mengchen. Jun Mengchen stared at his opponent. He soared up into the air and similarly transformed into a gigantic divinity, exuding the aura of an emperor. His battle intent soared into the sky as the two of them instantly clashed. And in the other battlefields, battles also erupted. Tuoba Sainsky's assimilation ability was as heaven-defying as ever. He borrowed the law energy of the experts from the heavenly talisman realm and fused them together, forming a supreme grand formation. Tuoba Sainsky was born to be the eye of the formation. Other than them, there were also some humans who were enraged by the demons from the heavenly talisman race who joined the battle. But compared to the spectators, the number of humans who joined the battle was simply pitiful. Kill! A transcendent-level demon king from the Nether race commanded. Kill! On the Golden War Chariot, an expert from the Sun Gold demon race wielded a Golden Sun War spear as he rushed forward. The demon race was violent and had an extremely cruel law of the jungle. The strong would be the king while the weak would bow their heads. They were violent and didn't have many rules. But sometimes, they were even more united compared to humans. The greater demons who participated in the battle far surpassed the humans. This battle stirred up a storm. The entire battlefield rapidly expanded towards the surroundings, pulling the battlefield apart. Pairs of experts stood in one corner of the sky, and a shocking battle broke out. In the city of ancient emperors, countless experts inclined their heads and stared over as shock could be seen in their eyes. Over there, a large-scale battle actually erupted. The battlefield spanned across a vast area and was still expanding. In fact, the number of experts participating in the battle was increasing as well. Wu Xiu had an unyielding character. He couldn't endure the arrogance of these demons. If this continued, the immortal realms would soon become the immortal realms of the desolate mountains. Namhuang Yunxi also participated in the battle. But even with her mid-stage immortal king combat prowess, she wasn't able to play a decisive role in this battle. In fact, it was obvious that the humans were in a disadvantageous position. They had fewer demon kings, hence they had the advantage. Careful! At this moment, Namhuang Yunxi cried out in shock. But it was too late. Before her, a holy maiden from the Southern Phoenix clan was being torn apart by the sharp claws of a void beast. Fresh blood splattered through the air. Namhuang Yunxi's heart trembled violently. How many people had died already? In the city of ancient emperors, several holy maidens of her Namhuang clan had already fallen. In this great era, geniuses were as common as the clouds. Experts contended for the throne, but wasn't it the same? Wasn't it the same for 1,000 corpses? Not only did the holy maidens of the Namhuang clan die, Jidi's followers also had female immortal kings that died. Naturally, the demon kings were the same as well. But for those who were still alive, they didn't feel any hatred or regret. They were still frenziedly fighting. They knew that since they were born in this era, they would eventually have to face such a battle. If it wasn't today, it would be tomorrow. A supremely beautiful figure appeared. In her arms was a snow-white demonic beast. Behind her was a sexy and pure maiden. The demonic beast in her arms rushed out, instantly transforming into a gigantic golden beast. The voice of the maiden was ethereal as she spoke. This is a battle between humans and demonic beasts. Do you really want to participate and stand on the side of humans? If this is the case, I won't be able to help you either. This is my battle, it has nothing to do with which side I stand on. If I don't help when I see Qing fighting, wouldn't that fellow slaughter this precious baby of mine? Little rascal mumbled. After that, he directly rushed out. His body expanded unceasingly, becoming incomparably gigantic as he sped towards the direction of Qing. A thunderous sound rang out as the sky changed color. One of the void beasts fighting against Qing only felt a terrifying vortex enveloping him. He abruptly inclined his head and stared at Little Rascal as he roared in rage. You actually dare to act against me? Whoever dares to touch Qing, I will kill them all. At this moment, Little Rascal retracted his usual playful attitude. Boundless law energy radiated from his mouth, and in an instant, that void beast was enveloped by a devouring energy. That void beast activated his innate ability, wanting to flee, but Little Rascal roared continuously. Even though that void beast managed to flee far away, it was still directly swallowed back into Little Rascal's mouth. That void beast struggled madly, unceasingly traversing the void. However, the space he was in was about to be devoured. No matter how he traversed the void, he had no way to escape. Not long after, his body transformed into a beam of light and shot towards Little Rascal. He was directly swallowed by Little Rascal. At the last moment, that void beast's body was as tiny as an ant. Is this a heaven-devouring beast? How terrifying! Heaven-devouring beasts that have cultivated to the pinnacle can even devour the heavens. I wonder if this is real or fake. Someone sighed in admiration. Do you guys know the origin of this heaven-devouring beast? Someone asked. What origin? Didn't he come from the desolate mountains? Someone asked. You guys don't understand. If he came from the desolate mountains, why would he help us humans in battle? It's because he grew up in the immortal realms. His master is Qin Wenyin, the fiancé of Evergreen Qin. Traitor, eat him. A demon king stared at Little Rascal. A moment later, quite a few demons flew out, rushing towards Little Rascal. Little Rascal was like a supreme demon king. His eyes were golden, and his fur was golden. He roared once more as boundless law energy enveloped the greater demons that wanted to deal with him, wanting to devour them. He had no fear at all. Interesting. Some of the more powerful greater demons arrived here. A few extremely powerful demons walked out and directly joined the battle. At this moment, on the peak of an ancient mountain, Qin Wenyin was still quietly sitting there. He had been sitting there for a very long time, but at this moment, Little Rascal's voice suddenly rang out in his mind. His eyes opened, resembling two bolts of lightning that could pierce through the heavens and earth, causing the souls of those who saw it to tremble. Rumble! With a flash of his silhouette, he directly soared into the air, rushing towards Little Rascal's location. After so many years, Little Rascal had never taken the initiative to summon him before. This time around, there must be an urgent matter. Chapter 1502. On the day of the great battle, the heavens and earth lost their color, the sun and moon lost their light. The vast mountains and rivers were all reduced to dust. Right now, in this chaotic battlefield, the situation was extremely terrifying. Many experts from the various races appeared, exuding a fearsome aura. How could the scale of the battle between humans and demons not be grand? Ever since the rules of the city of ancient emperors changed, there had never been such a scene before. Demons and humans constantly joined the fray, and a slight change in one part would cause a chain reaction. In fact, in this space, many supreme characters that were rarely seen in the city of ancient emperors also appeared. For example, the nine-tailed fox maiden, Jiang Zihua from the Jiang clan, who was the first to comprehend a Tao element, as well as that supreme character who sat on the golden sun chariot in the air. He once killed a prince of the Taihua immortal dynasty with a single strike and now stood at the peak of the city of ancient emperors. No one dared to antagonize him. Some of his clansmen also joined the battle, but he didn't interfere at all. Even when his clansmen encountered danger, he still chose to watch from the sidelines. Right now, the immortal realms were in chaos as the laws of heaven and earth changed. A brand new era was about to usher in. Regardless of the desolate mountains or the demonic races, both would experience great changes. Powerful experts would appear, and if any race wanted to stand at the peak in the future, they would have to be extremely powerful. The city of ancient emperors was none other than the tempering grounds. Other than several supreme characters, many from the royal races of the desolate mountains also appeared, joining the battle. Gradually, they gained an overwhelming advantage, wanting to suppress the human wuxio. The battlefield was extremely tragic. Blood rained down from the skies. In this vast space, the battlefield in the center was the most brutal. The number of people who died was extremely high. The void beasts and the heavenhold demon race were still ferociously attacking the people from Matriarch Ji's sect as well as the Southern Phoenix clan. Little Rascal, who was in the form of a heaven-devouring beast, was the only one fighting against them. He was like the king of all demons, and if it wasn't for several supreme greater demons joining forces, it was unknown how many demon kings would have been devoured by him. Other than this, Jun Mingchen's combat prowess was also extremely tyrannical. Only the Void Beast Kings could stop him. The Namhuang clan also had several extraordinary characters. The phoenix silhouettes suppressed the heaven and earth, the flames scorching the sky. However, no matter how they resisted, they were still in a state of being suppressed, causing many experts to be bathed in blood. Qing'er's entire body was cold to the extreme. Spatial energy enveloped her body, and her pure and beautiful face was covered in an icy aura. However, her pure and flawless clothes were currently stained with dirt and blood. There were several wounds on her body, causing others to feel pity for her. At this moment, there were several greater demons surrounding her. A transcendent greater demon from the Heavenhold race revealed a covetous expression as he spoke. "What a beautiful woman! I want this woman alive. Everyone, please show mercy." "All right." A void beast coldly spoke. To deal with such a cold beauty, killing her wasn't the cruelest thing to do. "Do it." The great demon of the Heavenhold race blasted out with a punch that was still filled with boundless might. Meteors descended from the sky, each of them resembling a star, containing boundless might. Qing'er's expression was extremely solemn as the law energy of the void engulfed this entire space, wrapping around the incoming energy and banishing it. The void beast traversed through space, opening up a spatial pathway and directly appeared before Qing. His sharp claws tore through everything. Many human wuxio who came to participate in the battle seemed to be here because of this woman. "Capture her." Several greater demons rushed towards Qing. In an instant, Qing was in imminent danger. Boom. At this moment, a blood-colored bolt of lightning slammed into the body of one of the greater demons. That greater demon trembled violently as boundless law energy descended, transforming into a prison. Strands of blood-colored lightning coiled around his body. "Kill!" A cold voice rang out. That demonic cultivator roared in rage before disintegrating into dust. Many experts from the demonic races glanced over, only to see a group of devil cultivators walking over. Their bodies radiated traces of judgment energy, extremely terrifying. It's the devil cultivators from the Judiciary Devil Hall. They actually interfered. Although the majority of the myriad devil islands and the immortal realms wuxio are humans, they are also enemies. Yet they actually acted to help. Someone had a look of surprise on his face. The priestess of the Judiciary Devil Hall. Someone glanced at a female among them. She was clad in blood-colored robes and had a crown on her head, exuding a cold aura. "The devil cultivators of your myriad devil islands also want to interfere?" In the air, a transcendent greater demon transformed into human form. His arms were crossed in front of his chest. This powerful demonic beast was an expert from the Forak race of the Desolate Mountains. He possessed the unique bloodlines of the Forok and Phoenix races. Could it be that the devil cultivator of the myriad devil islands isn't the human Wu Xiao? The priestess coldly spoke. This scene caused another group of experts from the Devil Mountain of the myriad devil islands to feel bewildered. These devil cultivators were like shadows, like kings of the darkness. They were none other than immortal kings of the darkness Devil Hall. This priestess by Qing's personality has always been cold and emotionless. Why is she so passionate now? A devil cultivator coldly spoke, feeling somewhat taken aback. Back then when Bai Qing was still at the Immortal Foundation realm, there was a group of Immortal Realms Wu Xiao who came to our Devil Mountain. Do you still remember? I vaguely remember a little. Back then, Bai Qing was an old acquaintance of that person and referred to him as Wenyan Gij. From this, one can very well imagine the relationship between them. Also, this Qin Wenyan has caused quite a commotion on our Devil Mountain and is extremely famous in the eastern regions. That evergreen Qing is the daughter of Changqing the Great, and is also the fiancée of Qin Wenyan. Someone pointed to Qing as he spoke. In that case, Bai Qing appeared because she wanted to help Qin Wenyan. However, from Bai Qing's attitude, does she really treat Qin Wenyan as an elder brother? A devil cultivator at the side coldly laughed. If she doesn't treat him as an elder brother, why would she act to help Qin Wentian's woman? Maybe her feelings for him are too deep. They laughed as though they were talking about something insignificant. Didn't you guys hear? The devil cultivators of the myriad devil islands are also humans. In that case, are you guys not demons? In the air, the experts from the Forok race glanced to their left and right. A moment later, another group of supreme greater demons swooped down. The speed of the Forok race was incomparably fast, and they had the advantage of the great rocks and phoenixes. They directly attacked the experts of the Judiciary Devil Hall, causing the battle to grow increasingly complicated. There were more spectators compared to the combatants. But as long as the human Wu Xiao joined the battle, demonic beasts would immediately join the battle, suppressing the humans. From afar, an expert could be seen speeding over. Qin Wentian's robes fluttered in the wind. Although he was still far away, his immortal sense had already arrived. He could see that the battlefield was filled with experts from all directions. He could tell with a single glance that this was a battle between demonic beasts and humans. Also, there were many greater demon races as well as human experts involved. They covered the entire battlefield, and in the center of the battlefield, there was actually Qing and the others. There was also Jun Mingchen, Nam Huang Yunxi, Little Rascal, and even that little lass Bai Qing. All these familiar figures instantly stirred his heart. When he saw the bloodstains on Qing's body and how Jun Mingchen fought bravely, his resplendent eyes flashed with an extremely cold killing intent. Finally, he arrived at the periphery of the battlefield. He transformed into a beam of light and directly rushed into the battlefield as he spoke in a tyrannical voice. "What's wrong? A bunch of vile beasts dares to bully us humans? All of you better stop for this seat." His voice was tyrannical to the extreme, humiliating the many demonic beasts with a single sentence. Qin Wentian's purpose was to implicate himself in this battle with a single sentence. His tyrannical voice thundered through the air, ringing out in the ears of everyone. In an instant, countless experts coldly stared at him, including the supreme greater demons. However, this was a war between immortal kings, and such a large-scale one in particular. How could it be resolved just because of a single sentence from Qin Wenyan? The experts in the battle didn't stop. They were still as violent as ever. Didn't you guys hear this seat's words? Qin Wentian roared. His palms sliced through the air as a river of sword chi formed from lightning arced through the air, slashing towards the battlefield where Qing and Bai Qing were fighting. Those demonic beasts were instantly shocked when they sensed the power of the sword chi. Sounds of screams of agony rang out as the gigantic demonic beasts were directly slashed apart by the sword chi. Roars of rage and screams of misery rang out unceasingly. In an instant, many people on the battlefield stopped. Numerous gazes turned to Qin Wentian, gleaming with sharpness. The saber-sword immortal king, Someone recognized Qin Wenyin as he exclaimed in shock. He is the saber-sword immortal king? A character at the peak of the city of ancient emperors is interfering in the war between humans and demons of the desolate mountains. The eyes of everyone flashed. The saber-sword immortal king's interference might cause an even greater conflict. The experts from the demonic races all stared at Qin Wenyin, staring at the immense emperor's fate behind him. Was this the saber-sword immortal king who killed the Yama crown prince in 9 seconds? He was truly tyrannical, actually wanting the entire battlefield to stop with a single sentence. Saber-sword immortal king, you are too impudent. In the air, a supreme greater demon from the Forok race had a sharp look on his face as he stared at Qin Wenyin. Among the demons killed earlier, one of them was a tribesman from the Forok race. Impudent. Qin Wenyin inclined his head and stared at the sky as a torrential river of sword chi shot out from his eyes. That expert from the Forok race flashed, arcing through the air as he roared, "What are you doing? Do you think you can escape?" Qin Wenyin coldly snorted. The river of sword chi slashed out, causing piercing sounds to ring out as screams of misery rang out. The crowd only saw the body of that peak stage demon king from the Forok race being torn apart. This was simply terrifying. This saber-sword immortal king is, as the rumors say, simply lawless. There are many greater demon races here, and each of them has an Empyrean character. This is especially so for the Forok race. How powerful are they? That expert over there is also an expert from the Forok race, but he actually directly started a massacre. The crowd was shocked. The saber-sword immortal king was simply too tyrannical. Qing'er's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light as she stared at Qin Wenyin. Earlier, Qin Wentian's sword strike seemed to be a casual one, yet it happened to help her out of her predicament. This caused her to be somewhat bewildered. "It hurts me." At this moment, a voice rang out in her mind. In an instant, Qin only felt a warm current flowing through her heart. She lowered her head and glanced at the bloodstains on her body as her cold eyes seemed to melt. This fellow kept looking for her in the city of ancient emperors. So it turned out that he had changed his identity. Chapter 1503. The moment Qin Wenyin acted, he killed several demon kings. In addition to his arrogant words, his actions instantly angered the other demons of the desolate mountains. Numerous terrifying auras bore down on him as demonic chi towered up into the sky. You want to become enemies with the entire demon race of the desolate mountains? An Empyrean from the Void Beast race coldly spoke. What a big hat! The entire demon race of the desolate mountains? Qin Wenyin laughed uproariously. He stared at the Empyrean and continued, "You demons surrounded and killed humans of my immortal realms." In addition to the incident that happened many years ago in the ancient Emperor Palace, some of the demon races of the desolate mountains have never placed humans of the immortal realms in their eyes. As for those demons who wreaked havoc in the human world of the immortal realms, aren't they also treating Wuxiu as their enemies? All the demons fell silent. However, that Empyrean from the Forok race floated in the air, radiating demonic chi as he stared at Qin Wenyin. The Void Beasts, Heavenhold race and the others all stared at Qin Wenyin as killing intent flashed in their eyes. It's just that the fame of the saber-sword immortal king was too great. In addition to the fact that he killed several greater demons the moment he appeared, shocking everyone. Even for these violent demons, they didn't dare to act recklessly. Someone turned his gaze to that incomparably dazzling figure in the air. That figure sat on the golden sun chariot, radiating light that illuminated the area. He was also a character at the peak of the city of ancient emperors, terrifying to the extreme and had shocking combat prowess. Now that a peak character had appeared in the human race of Wuxiu, only he and the nine-tailed fox maiden could contend against him. However, the fox maiden's personality was too cold. Clearly, the possibility of her participating in the battle was lower compared to this Empyrean from the golden sun chariot. That Empyrean from the Forok race glanced at another Empyrean from their race. Although his fame wasn't as great as that Empyrean from the Forok race, they all knew how terrifying his strength was. That Empyrean from the Forok race stared at Qin Wenyan, his eyes gleaming with arrogance. "Everyone, what do you all think?" He didn't act directly but stared at the experts from the other demonic races instead. The demonic chi radiating from these Empyrean-level greater demons seemed to be able to bury the heavens and earth. All of them had killing intent towards this saber-sword immortal king. The saber-sword immortal king was simply too arrogant. He humiliated the demon race of the desolate mountains and killed our demon race's experts. He must be killed. An expert secretly spoke. "Humiliate the demon clan and kill me? Who dares?" Qin Wentian's eyes swept across the demonic beasts in all directions. As soon as he spoke, the air fell silent once again. Despite the overwhelming demonic aura, he was still as confident and calm as ever. One could even say that he was arrogant. After another moment of silence, the demonic chi of the greater demons in the air didn't diminish at all. They exchanged glances with each other, as though they were plotting something. Beezing, the air whistled as a void beast acted. He soared through the air and grabbed out with his palm towards Qin Wenyan. In an instant, a powerful spatial energy bore down on Qin Wenyan. In just an instant, a spatial prison appeared, trapping Qin Wenyan within. After that, many other greater demons acted at the same time. Among them, there were several void beasts who unleashed spatial energy that bore down on Qin Wenyan. After that, the greater demons from the Heavenhold race also acted. They transformed into supreme greater demons and blasted out fist lights that contained boundless might. There were also experts from the Forok race who acted. They spread their wings and soared through the air, instantly arriving. "Do you demonic beasts of the desolate mountains still have any face?" Jun Mingchen roared. A world manifested, enveloping this entire space. "Roar!" Little Rascal howled in rage. Its golden eyes gleamed with a terrifying coldness as a fearsome devouring vortex appeared, devouring the spatial energy within the spatial prison. Qin Wenyan was as calm as ever. He turned his gaze to the surroundings. There were more and more greater demons rushing over from all directions. Although he was trapped by the spatial prison, a look of arrogance could be seen on his face, as calm as ever. With a single glance, those experts rushing towards Qin Wenyan only felt the entire space changing. They rushed towards Qin Wenyan, but Qin Wenyan merely stood there quietly, staring at them. He was so close yet so far away at the same time. An illusion. Many greater demons exchanged mutual glances. How could this be? They entered an illusion. Was this a law domain that Qin Wenyan comprehended? It was rumored that back then when the Yama Crown Prince was killed by the Sabersword Immortal King within 9 seconds, it had something to do with illusions. Now, was this a reenactment of the Yama King's death? When they thought of this, their hearts trembled uncontrollably as terror filled their hearts. After all, the Sabersword Immortal King was extremely famous and this illusionscape was extremely mysterious. Bzz. A void beast soared through the air, appearing before Qin Wenyan. Its sharp claws directly tore Qin Wenyan apart. However, he discovered that Qin Wentian's silhouette had already vanished. However, they were still trapped within the illusionscape, unable to break free. An expert from the Forok race was bathed in supreme flames. He pointed a finger at the center of his brows as light shot out from his eyes. He returned to the outside world and could see the real world. However, to his shock, he discovered that his mind seemed to have split. He was still in that illusory space. That illusory space seemed to be trying to pull him back. This is a dreamscape. He wants to pull me into a dream created by him. Wandering between reality and illusionscape, he discovered to his shock that he actually had no way to break free. In the illusionscape, many experts were already being attacked. Qin Wentian silhouettes appeared in many locations, transforming into a myriad of incarnations. What space is this? A demonic beast roared in rage. A space that will bury all of you. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. In an instant, a myriad of laws appeared, engulfing this space. How could these people withstand Qin Wentian's attacks? One after another, the demonic beasts were annihilated. Hence, A shocking scene appeared in the outside world. Those demonic beasts that rushed towards Qin Wenyan actually died one after another. Before they could even reach Qin Wenyan, all of them were already howling in rage. When Qin Wenyan waved his palm, all of them were annihilated. The saber-sword immortal king. Everyone stared at the demonic beasts that fell unceasingly. All the demonic beasts fell silent. Powerful. Was this the strength of the saber-sword immortal king? His illusory arts seemed to have already reached a transcendent level. There was no way to break them or evade them. As long as Qin Wenyan stood there, he would be able to drag them into the illusionscape and kill them. The spatial prison around Qin Wenyan vanished. He calmly stood there as he coldly spoke. Who else wants to kill this seat? We can't kill him. The experts all sighed. If one wanted to kill a character at the peak of the city of ancient emperors, it was no longer a matter of numbers. Because no one would be able to withstand their destructive attacks. Those who encountered them would die for sure. The demonic beasts inclined their heads and stared at that figure in the air that was even more dazzling than the sun. Although there were many demonic beasts here, the only one who could deal with the saber-sword immortal king was him. Please make your move. A demonic beast spoke. In this place, only you can kill him. Humans humiliated the demons of our desolate mountains. We have to protect the glory of our desolate mountains. In all directions, the eyes of the greater demons were all staring at the figure sitting on the sun chariot, treating him as their hope. The saber-sword immortal king was too powerful, they couldn't kill him. In fact, they couldn't even get close to him. In addition, the saber-sword immortal king once relied on his illusory arts to kill the Yama Crown Prince within 9 breaths. Even these tyrannical demonic beasts understood that given their strength, they wouldn't be able to kill the saber-sword immortal king. If they continued to attack, they would only be courting death. Saber-sword immortal king. At this moment, an intense light flashed from the sun chariot. That figure in the sun finally spoke. The moment he spoke, all the demonic beasts were filled with excitement, hoping that he would kill the saber-sword immortal king. Qin Wenyan inclined his head and stared at his opponent. This demonic beast from the Gold Sun race was rumored to be a hybrid between the Golden Crow and the Golden Crow race, possessing the advantages of both races. Regardless of attack or defense, they were all extremely powerful, able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Forok race. An intense battle intent flashed in Qin Wenyan's eyes. He wondered how this supreme greater demon from the Gold Sun race would fare against the Yama Crown Prince. Let's end the battle here today. Just when everyone thought there would be a great battle, the figure in the sun chariot spoke. Since the demons of the desolate mountains have come out, it's naturally impossible for them to retreat back to the desolate mountains. In the future, humans and demonic beasts will coexist. This isn't something that can be resolved with a single battle here. Humans or demons, it's meaningless to argue. Only those who are stronger would have the authority to speak. Qin Wenyan quietly listened. He naturally understood that the other party was speaking the truth. It didn't matter who was more esteemed, it was just that everyone had their own standpoints. If demons were stronger, humans would be their servants. If humans were stronger, demons would be their slaves. This was reality. We have yet to stand at the peak of the immortal realms, we won't be able to decide the overall situation. That expert in the air continued, and in this space, there are many characters who are already at the peak of the immortal king realm. I also wish to see who is stronger and who is weaker exactly. As the sound of his voice faded, everyone was shocked. Could it be that he wanted everyone to disperse and end this chaotic battle? Could it be that he wanted to fight against Qin Wenyan alone? I will summon all the peak characters here. Regardless of the demons or humans, I want to see who will be the true king in the city of ancient emperors. The eyes of that expert from the Gold Sun race turned to Qin Wenyan as he spoke. Saber-sword immortal king, at that time, you should come as well. Also, the fox goddess and Jiang Zihua. The hearts of the experts here trembled. Inviting the peak characters of the city of ancient emperors for a battle? The beautiful eyes of the nine-tailed fox maiden also flashed with a bright light. In truth, she also wanted to know who was stronger in the city of ancient emperors right now. Jiang Zihua laughed. He stared at the expert on the war chariot. Fine, you can decide the time and location. Let's forget about today's matter. I will send a message to the city of ancient emperors. You guys just have to wait for my news. As the sound of that expert's voice faded, sunlight cascaded down from the sky. The war chariot whistled as it directly departed from this place. When the experts from the Gold Sun race saw this scene, their silhouettes flashed as they departed respectively. Chapter 1504. When the demonic beasts saw the experts from the Sun Gold Demon race leaving, all of them had the intention to retreat, preparing for a truce. Naturally, this was because no one could deal with the saber-sword Immortal King. If not, how could they retreat so easily? Saber-sword Immortal King, the day of the final battle shall be the day you die. A greater demon from the Heavenhold race coldly spoke. Although he had an ugly appearance, his eyes were filled with arrogance. Beauties, I will let you guys live freely for a few more days. Don't be anxious, my Heavenhold race will definitely dote on you guys. They didn't forget to look at GD's followers and Qing with lustful eyes. There's also the Namhuang clan. It's said that they have the bloodline of the Phoenix. I'm filled with anticipation. Many experts from the Forok race also coldly spoke. They originally had the bloodline of both the Great Rock and Phoenix races. They had no idea how pure the Phoenix bloodline of the Namhuang clan was. Retreat. The void beasts gritted their teeth, feeling somewhat unwilling. Retreat? Did this seat agree to it? At this moment, Qin Wendian suddenly spoke, his words causing the demonic beasts to halt their steps in the air. Numerous pairs of demonic eyes stared fixedly at him. Saber-sword Immortal King, what do you mean by this? Didn't you hear what I said earlier? If you want to fight, there will naturally be others to deal with you. Those greater demons stared at Qin Wendian. What a joke! Did this seat agree to it? Qin Wendian's eyes flashed with arrogance. He floated in the air as his killing intent gushed forth, causing the demonic beasts in the surroundings to stare at him. This bastard actually wanted to act? You don't dare to accept the challenge? A greater demon from the Heavenhold race pointed his finger at Qin Wendian as a violent demonic chi ravaged the air. When this seat does things, how can I allow others to guide me? Since he wants to challenge me, this seat will naturally accept it. However, you all humiliated me, a human, Wu Xiu, and were disrespectful to a fairy of the immortal realms. You all want to fight and leave just like that? Qin Wendian arrogantly spoke. He continued soaring up into the air as he smiled. Back then, this seat once had a 7-day agreement with Fairy Su Qingyao, who in the city of ancient emperors doesn't know that this seat has a tender heart for the fairer sex. In addition, the fairies of the Namhuang clan have an extraordinary relationship with this seat. Holy maidens and fairies, before this, which demon race participated in the assassination of the Southern Phoenix Holy Maiden? Qin Wendian turned his head and asked Nanfeng Yunqi. The auras of the demons surged as their rage towered up into the sky. Right now, how could they not understand that the saber-sword Immortal King had no intentions of letting them off? He wanted to settle the debt with them. Those rats that call themselves void beasts, the Heavenhold race, and the Forok race all have a share. Namhuang Yunqi's expression turned cold as she spoke. She naturally understood Qin Wendian's meaning. These people weren't the only ones insulting them, Qing'e was there as well. Although Qin Wendian had transformed into the saber-sword Immortal King, he would surely help Qing'e vent her anger. Fine. Since the demon clan is willing to stop the war, I will also give face to the demon clan of the wilderness. These 3 clans will stay. Qin Wendian's voice was emotionless, causing the experts from the 3 clans to be incomparably enraged. One of the experts from the Heavenhold race trembled as he roared in rage. Let's join forces and kill him. I don't believe his illusionary arts are so powerful. Qin Wendian soared up into the air, staring at the greater demon from the Heavenhold race who spoke. In an instant, the greater demon only felt the sword intent penetrating his eyes. Despite his heaven-defying defense, His eyes were still penetrated by the sword intent. He directly screamed in agony as blood seeped out of his eyes. After that, numerous beams of sword intent penetrated through his body. That gigantic body of his was directly pulverized by the sword intent, an extremely shocking sight to behold. The saber-sword immortal king is too terrifying. Many human cultivators silently mused. In this vast space, the eyes of many demons froze. Before this, although they were arrogant and could suppress humans, but now, there was no one who could suppress the saber-sword immortal king. Hence, none of the demons dared to act recklessly. After all, the saber-sword immortal king only wanted to deal with the 3 clans. Regardless of humans or demons, they would all feel fear. When facing an invincible opponent, who would be willing to take the risk and send themselves to death? Bzz. Abruptly, a terrifying might bore down. The experts from the Forok race all moved, rushing towards Qin Wenyan from all directions. Their movements were as fast as lightning, especially for the one in the center. He was extremely terrifying, transforming into his true form, blotting out the sun. With a flap of his wings, golden flames shot out, shooting towards Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan waved his hand as the sword river gushed forth endlessly, clashing against the energy in the air. With a stomp of his foot, the heavens and earth rumbled as his pagoda law domain manifested, directly enveloping everything within it. Waves of pagoda intent gushed forth, resembling divine pagodas that shot out, exuding a tyrannical destructive might as they blasted into the bodies of the Forok experts. In an instant, the Forok experts were all annihilated by Qin Wenyan's terrifying attacks. Even the powerful demon kings of the Forok race couldn't withstand his attacks. What a perfect law domain! Many humans, Wu Xiu, sighed in admiration. They were all famous immortal kings and had outstanding talent. They could naturally see how perfect the pagoda law domain was. Back then, when the saber-sword immortal king broke through to the peak stage of the immortal king realm, he dared to challenge the Yama king and killed him within 9 seconds. Now that another 10 years have passed, his strength should have grown much stronger compared to back then. However, there was still one Empyrean-level Forok. His strength was heaven-shaking, his entire body flowed with powerful runic light, like a suit of armor. Even when the pagoda intent descended, it only caused his body to tremble, it had no way to destroy him. His body radiated boundless light, transforming into attacks that collided with the pagoda intent. A gigantic claw lashed out. He arrived at the edge of the pagoda prison and unleashed a shocking attack towards the pagoda light. A heaven-shocking demonic art was unleashed, and cracks appeared on the pagoda. It was actually about to shatter. From this, it could be seen how terrifying his attack was. Qin Wenyan was expressionless. His palms blasted out in the air, blotting out the sun as they transformed into a transcendent-level palm imprint. The palm imprint exuded the might of a sword-shaped pagoda as it blasted downwards, aiming for the gigantic body. That Forok's expression drastically changed when he saw this scene. This attack seemed to be even stronger compared to the pagoda law domain. He roared in rage and blasted out demonic arts, yet he was unable to block Qin Wenyan's attack. That sword pagoda slammed down with the palm imprint, wanting to annihilate everything, directly enveloping him within. His gigantic body struggled madly, wanting to flee, but he discovered that it was impossible for him to do so. He was directly bound by the pagoda formation, and his body was being destroyed bit by bit. When the experts from the Void Beast race and Heavenhold race saw that even the Forok race's expert was killed, the trace of hope in their hearts was shattered. A powerful spatial light flashed as the expert from the Void Beast race directly tore through the void. After knowing that he was no match for the Forok race, he could only flee. "Do you all still want to flee?" Qin Wenyan's calm voice rang out. Those void beasts who were fleeing only felt that they had entered another dimension. Their eyes flashed with a demonic light, extremely unsightly to behold. How could this be? They had used their spatial innate talents to flee, but they were actually still trapped within the illusory law domain. There was no way for them to escape from this. "Since you all want to kill us humans, just stay behind." Qin Wenyan's voice rang out. After that, the sword intent from the pagoda descended, causing the void beasts to howl in rage. However, it was useless as they died one after another. Not a single one of the void beasts could survive. In the air, only the experts from the Heavenhold race remained. Their ugly eyes flashed with fear. One of the greater demons from the Heavenhold race howled madly, "Saber-sword immortal king, you killed so many demons. Do you think you can still live after leaving the city of ancient emperors? Even now, you still dare to threaten this seat?" Qin Wendian coldly spoke. With a wave of his hand, the pagoda law domain appeared once more, wanting to kill everything. The greater demons from the Heavenhold race howled in rage and curses as they died one after another. When the dust finally settled, the demon kings from the three races were all killed. In all directions, the experts from the demon races stood in great numbers, but right now, silence was everywhere. 10 years ago, the saber-sword immortal king rose to fame after a single battle. He killed the Yama king and the other kings of the Sanluo immortal empire. 10 years later, he killed the demon kings of the three races, causing a great calamity to befall him. However, he didn't seem to realize this at all. He merely calmly stared at the Namhuang clan and Jidi's followers as he smiled. These vile beasts actually dared to disturb the fairies of the immortal realms. They truly don't know the immensity of death. This seat has already eliminated them. In the future, if there are still people who covet the fairies of my immortal realms, this seat will definitely not disturb them. Only to see many beautiful immortal kings from Jidi's followers clasping their hands to Qin Wendian as they expressed their thanks. Many thanks to the saber-sword immortal king for helping us. Don't worry about it. We are all Wu Xiu of the immortal realms. How can we allow the fairies here to be humiliated by these vile beasts? In the future, if there's such a thing, fairies can just look for me directly. Qin Wendian spoke righteously. Chia's eyelashes fluttered, silently rolling her eyes when she saw that fellow boasting. This fellow really knew how to act. Senior brother is awesome. Jun Mingchen sighed in his heart. He was filled with reverence towards Qin Wendian. Fairies, this seat has cultivated for many years, and now, I also wish to come into contact with the outside world and temper myself. I wish to travel together with the fairies. I wonder what fairies are willing to do? Qin Wendian spoke to the experts from Jichang's gate, his words causing the fairies to exchange mutual glances. What did this saber-sword immortal king mean by this? Could it be that the saber-sword immortal king was interested in one of them? As they thought of this, they saw the saber-sword immortal king's gaze landing on Qin, as though he understood something. However, they understood Qin very well. With Qin Wendian around, how could she fall in love with anyone else? Hence, one of the maidens transmitted her voice to Qin, "Junior sister, do you have any objections?" Although the saber-sword immortal king killed 3 greater demons, there are still more of them in the city of ancient emperors. If we have a grudge with them before this, we might attract trouble. Qin replied, her words causing that maiden to start. She had actually neglected this point. Could it be that the saber-sword immortal king wanted to protect them? Since the saber-sword immortal king has spoken, we naturally have no objections. We can discuss the martial Dao with the saber-sword immortal king and verify our knowledge. The female immortal king clasped her hands and smiled. Sure, other than discussing the martial Dao, we might even have the chance to talk about other things. Qin Wendian laughed. Cough cough. Jun Mingchen perspired. This senior brother of his was simply shameless. Qin also rolled her eyes. This bastard, rogue. Chapter 1505. The experts in the surroundings were all stunned by Qin Wendian's words. Was this still the saber-sword immortal king who killed the Yama crown prince in 9 seconds and killed the 3 great demon clans? This was simply shameless. Tempering oneself in the mortal world, other than the martial path, he still dared to talk about other things? There were so many beautiful immortal kings here, what other things could there be? This was simply too shameless. So it turned out that this saber-sword immortal king wasn't just strong, he was also very good at picking up girls. The fairies of the Namhuang clan, why don't you join us as well? After that, Qin Wentian's next sentence caused everyone to be speechless. There were so many beautiful immortal kings under GD and he was still not satisfied? He even wanted to drag the fairies of the Namhuang clan as well? He was simply worse than a beast. The holy maidens of the Namhuang clan all had strange looks on their faces. However, they already had some friendship with Qin Wenyan before this and came to the city of ancient emperors together. It's just that the saber-sword immortal king now was no longer the same as before. He was much more powerful now and had already become a peak character. Sure. Nanfeng Yunxi naturally nodded her head. She knew of Qin Wentian's identity and naturally agreed to it. But as soon as she said this, she instantly regretted it. Because she noticed that the other sisters around her were all looking at her strangely. Their gazes were as strange as they could get. Although the Namhuang clan was acquainted with the saber-sword immortal king, his words earlier caused everyone's imaginations to run wild. Even if he was acquainted with him, there was no need for him to agree so readily, right? Could it be? Upon thinking of this, the gazes of the fairies of the Namhuang clan grew even stranger. Namhuang Yunxi's face turned red from embarrassment, causing many immortal kings to be dumbfounded. Namhuang Yunxi was originally an incomparably beautiful maiden, exuding a sense of nobility and coldness. Yet now, she actually revealed such a shy expression. How moving was this? Many people were completely dumbfounded when they saw this. Could it be that Namhuang Yunxi is interested in this saber-sword immortal king? Everyone couldn't help but think about it. Not only them, even the saintesses of the Namhuang clan had the same thought. However, since they were friends and Namhuang Yunxi had agreed, the saintesses of the Namhuang clan naturally wouldn't have any objections. They all nodded. I also want to discuss the martial Dao with Fairy Zhu, can I? A weak voice drifted over. The gazes of everyone turned over only to see little rascal transforming into a snow-white and adorable little demon as he walked over. That must be the little rascal beside Qin Wenyan, right? A fairy maiden from the Namhuang clan laughed. And yes. Namhuang Yunxi nodded. This little bastard is still so lecherous. Namhuang Yunxi, don't malign me. Little rascal spoke adorably. After that, he turned to Qing'e and spoke. Qing'e, this Bao Bao missed you. Where did this demonic beast come from? Scram, do you believe that this seat won't kill you? Qin Wenyan turned and glared at Little Rascal. Little Rascal actually dared to steal his lines? Was this little fellow itching for a beating? Do you think this Bao Bao is afraid of you? Little Rascal stretched out his paw and provoked. Saber-sword immortal king. This demonic beast isn't the same as other demonic beasts. He has some connection with junior sister Qing'e. Saber-sword immortal king, please don't be impulsive. A female immortal king from Jichang's gate hurriedly spoke. They had all witnessed the arrogance of the saber-sword immortal king before. This little rascal actually dared to talk back to him? Was he not afraid that the saber-sword immortal king would kill him in a fit of anger? What she didn't know was that little rascal wasn't afraid at all. This fellow had a connection with Qin Wenyan. How could he be afraid of Qin Wenyan? Fairy, ignore him. He might be able to scare others, but he won't be able to scare this Bao Bao. Little rascal stubbornly spoke. After that, he leaped onto Qing'er's body, causing Qing'er to be speechless. Sister Goddess, I'll stay together with Qing'e. I'll look for you to play again in the future. Little rascal spoke to the nine-tailed fox. The nine-tailed fox nodded lightly. After that, her silhouette flashed as she directly left this place. Beside her, an incomparably gigantic figure soared through the air, leaving together with her. This was none other than her servant. The experts from the demon races also dispersed. The human Wu Xiu was still there. Qin Wenyan glanced in the direction of Qing'e. Upon seeing Qing'e and the devil cultivators from the judiciary hall silently leaving, he didn't say anything. He hoped that Qing'e would always be safe and sound. He owed this last too much. Namhuang Yunxi, I'll go with you guys. Jun Mingchen spoke. They were acquainted with each other. Namhuang Yunxi nodded. The holy maidens of the Namhuang clan naturally wouldn't have any objections. The experts from the Heavenly Talisman realm glanced over there and didn't say anything. They stared at Qin Wenyin as they sighed in their hearts. To think that such a powerful character would actually appear in their Heavenly Talisman realm. This was even more powerful compared to their senior brother Tuoba Saint Sky. Truly, there were many crouching tigers and hidden dragons. It was just that they had never heard of this saber-sword immortal king before. Finally, the experts from the Heavenly Talisman realm all dispersed. The beauties around Qin Wenyin were as common as the clouds, and all of them were at the Immortal King realm. Saber-sword Immortal King, you killed 3 greater demons from the 3 races. I'm afraid there would really be trouble for you in the future. After all, once you exit the city of ancient emperors, the 3 greater demons and the Sunluo Immortal Empire would definitely not spare you. A female immortal king reminded. Don't worry about it. When I saw the fairies being humiliated by those vile beasts, how can this seat stand by and watch? Qin Wenyin casually spoke. His gaze landed on Qing as he smiled. However, Senior GD is truly awesome. Not only do the disciples under her sect have outstanding talent, all of them are beauties as well, truly broadening my horizons. No wonder those vile beasts would be moved. For example, a fairy like Qing, even this seat would be stunned by her beauty. Pooh! Jun Mingchen's face was filled with black lines. He clasped his hands to Qin Wenyin. Saber-sword Immortal King, I'm truly impressed. It was true that he was filled with reverence for his senior brother Qin. Qin Wenyin actually dared to tease his sister-in-law in public? Simply shameless to the extreme. And as expected, Qing, who was as pure as a snow lotus, also couldn't endure Qin Wenyan's teasing. She transmitted her voice back, You are shameless. Qin Wenyin couldn't help but to laugh in his heart when he saw the embarrassed look on Qing's face. Saber-sword Immortal King, you might not know this, but junior sister Qing already has someone in her heart. She's married to Qin Wenyin of the immortal Qianbian Gate, Chongqing the Great. A female immortal king with a voluptuous figure walked to the side of Qin Wenyin as she spoke in a gentle voice. Although she has cultivated for many years, because of her strength, she looked to be in her 20s. She was extremely beautiful and could be considered a peak-tier beauty. So this is the case. This seat doesn't have any other intentions. Qin Wenyin seriously nodded. Everyone rolled their eyes. It would be strange if he didn't have any other intentions. Saber-sword Immortal King, what's so special about your illusory arts? Why are they so powerful? That female immortal king smiled at Qin Wenyin, no longer mentioning the matter of Qing. The maidens in the surroundings exchanged mutual glances. Seems like their junior sister Junyi was interested in the saber-sword Immortal King. When they thought of this, they smiled and walked away. Their junior sister Junyi's looks were outstanding and her talent was also extremely high. As fellow apprentice sisters, they were very familiar with each other and knew that their junior sister Junyi had disdain for many men because she herself was very strong. However, this saber-sword Immortal King was definitely a dragon among men, causing their junior sister Junyi's heart to be moved. She actually took the initiative to speak to him. There's nothing special about it. In addition, it isn't a pure illusion. It's a dreamscape law domain formed from Dreamforce. Qin Wenyin didn't hide anything as he spoke. Let alone GD's followers, even if other enemies knew about it, they wouldn't be able to guard against it. This domain itself was extremely tyrannical, similar to the Azura Hell of the Yama Crown Prince. In fact, it was even more tyrannical than the Azura Hell. Being able to transform a dreamscape into a law domain and cultivate it to such a high level, how did you cultivate it exactly? Immortal King Junyi smiled, extremely moving. The two of them started chatting and seemed to hit it off very well. Many disciples of GD's followers all nodded silently. If their junior sister Junyi could fall in love with this saber-sword Immortal King, it would truly be a wonderful thing. However, this caused Qing's heart to tremble. Her beautiful eyes kept flickering. There was no way for her to remain calm when she saw this bastard trying to deceive her senior sister's feelings. What do you want to do? Qing transmitted her voice to Qin Wenyin. Qing It's not good for me to expose myself. I can only let nature take its course. Qin Wenyan replied, suppressing his laughter in his heart. His immortal sense had been observing the changes in Qing Er's expression. When he saw her who was usually calm and pure actually had a hint of jealousy on her face, he felt joy in his heart. He didn't expect that even Qing Er would be jealous. This was the situation here. And in the city of ancient emperors, after the spectators from the battlefield dispersed, the saber-sword immortal king's fame was like the sun in the sky. He once again swept through the city of ancient emperors. He domineeringly annihilated 3 races. How arrogant was he, simply unexcelled in the world. In fact, he didn't even place that supreme expert from the Sun Gold race in his eyes. In addition, there was still a supremely powerful existence from the Forok race. The saber-sword immortal king actually ignored him and killed an expert from the Forok race. This was simply lawless. Very swiftly, news circulated out. After that supreme expert from the Forok race received the news, he started to search for the saber-sword immortal king, wanting to kill him. After that, that supreme expert from the Forok race also released the news, setting a time and location for the battle. This news circulated through the entire city of ancient emperors, causing many dazzling characters to be filled with anticipation. In the city of ancient emperors, in a mountain range, a character in black robes exuded an incomparably violent aura. An immortal king stood before him and reported the news. That immortal king nodded, "I'll be there." In another location, the waves of the sea churned unceasingly. At this moment, a figure slowly walked out from the waves. Every step he took caused the waves to churn. Finally, he walked out from the sea and arrived at the shore. Several immortal kings bowed to him. Interesting, I also want to see how strong the other peak characters are. He inclined his head and stared at the law energy cascading down from the sky as his expression was incomparably calm. There was another ancient mountain that was incomparably gigantic. This ancient mountain was actually in the shape of a human and was shining with resplendent light. The radiance from the Tao elements that cascaded down from the sky actually seeped into it, incomparably resplendent. At this moment, countless cracks appeared on the ancient mountain. After that, rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly as boulders from the ancient mountain tumbled about. A beam of intense light shot out, shooting straight up into the clouds. With a thunderous boom, the ancient mountain seemed to have been cleansed of all its splendor. There was actually an ancient Buddha sitting cross-legged there. The emperor's fate behind him soared upwards, no longer able to contain it. He inclined his head slightly and opened his eyes. After that, he stood up. It was time for him to go out for a walk. He was only a step away from the immortal emperor realm. The city of ancient emperors trembled. Those characters who have been silent for many years, but their names have long resounded throughout the city of ancient emperors. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.